All right, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. this is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. We got a lot to cover. This new information I want to go through here in the beginning about Jack Smith's private or illegal spy operation on the private phone conversations of about a dozen Republican senators took place, by the way, after he broke into Mar-a-Lago. This is huge. You know, those of you that are on the left out there, what do you have to say for yourselves and for your people? I mean, you know, what Democrats have been doing the last 10 years since Trump has come down the escalator, it's literally right out of the Soviet Union, right out of East Germany. This is not how things historically have operated in the United States. And for the life of me, I can't understand why any of you guys are supporting this stuff. Now, look, I'm having some tech issues on my main stream. Hold on. This is a good reason to come on early so I can work them out. Hold on. I was having this problem yesterday. I might have to start it up again. Let me see here. Are we live? All right. Let's find out. Yes, we're live. Okay, good. All right. So it always makes me update software right before I do a live stream. Never any other times of the day. Right before I go live, I have to update all the software. Since Trump came down the escalator over 10 years ago, the political establishment and the deep state have been going after this president in ways that should scare the living daylights out of each and every American, right? I mean, they started spying on him on day one. Remember, in the first campaign, Trump came out of Trump Tower and said, Obama's spying on me. And the press laughed at him. Everyone laughed, I don't want spying. And we found out it was true. And this is something that's been going on for over a decade. For all I know, they still have some deep state people still spying on him in some way, shape, or form that we're not familiar with. So, you know, this latest revelation from Jack Smith, this is huge stuff. And this is an important thing for people to understand, all right? Don't let anyone tell you a couple of things before I get into the details of this story. One, don't let anyone tell you we already knew this, because we didn't, okay? Don't let anybody start talking about that. You know, that's just an absurd thing to say. The other thing is, don't let anyone tell you that we knew about this and I'm not surprised. If we only talked about things that surprised us, we wouldn't have any conversations at all, because honestly, nothing surprises me anymore. I'm so jaded by these coup conspirators that there hasn't been a story that surprised me in years, all right? So don't, you know, people that run that line of thinking, oh, we already knew this, which is not true. We did not know about this. You know, are you surprised, or nothing's going to happen to these people? Those are people, for the most part, are trying to discount the story and make it sound like no big deal, and actually make it sound as if it's not even news, when in fact it is major news. Marsha Blackburn, who was one of the senators who was being illegally spied on by Jack Smith, took to Fox News. Well, she had a press conference that was carried not just on Fox, all over the place. Listen.
What we know is this, that the FBI under Joe Biden and under Barack Obama, that they exercised activity that they had no authority to exercise. And as Senator Haggerty mentioned, we know what they did in 2016 to the Trump transition team. And now we find out that after the Mar-a-Lago raid, after the indictment of President Trump, they surveil us, people who support President Trump, members who are all Republicans. But it shows you how out of control and rotten to the core and politicized the FBI had become, and how they had absolutely no problem at all whatsoever with political weaponization. We appreciate the information we've gotten today. We look forward to further investigation on this.
Okay, now if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video and images that I show. And a link to the main stream is in the description of the video with the green behind me. So you can go and click that link. It'll take you immediately to my main YouTube live stream. You know, what was going on here was a fishing expedition, right? They broke into Mar-a-Lago on a fishing expedition. He did not have unauthorized classified documents. They went in there. Maria Bartiromo reported this on Fox Business. I've talked about it a lot for quite some time, for the last couple of years, that they broke into Mar-a-Lago and with a safecracker the FBI brought along with them to break into President Trump's safe. They were looking for the documents that we've been talking about the last few weeks of Obama authorizing this illegal spy operation and the crafting of fake Russian interference intelligence reports. They were looking for the classified documents about that. And they obviously didn't find it because it was not there. Now we have the documents and they're public. And that's why, Comey, who's going to be arraigned tomorrow on Wednesday, it's just a matter of whether he'll be just showing up and surrendering himself in the parking garage, or are they going to perp walk him? There's a lot of debate about that, but it was going to be Thursday. They reported they moved it up to Wednesday to have him arraigned, and he's going to be charged with these crimes. But this new revelation that Jack Smith and the FBI were monitoring the phone conversations of about a dozen Republican United States senators. This is huge. And they not only were just listening in, they were getting the metadata, it's being reported, so that they could find out who called who, as well as electronic information, like text messages and such. And it was a fishing expedition. And, I was talking yesterday, this ongoing coup in Illinois, Oregon, and California against the federal government. It's part of this insurrection, this coup that's been going on for a decade against President Trump. They've all been resisting him. And at some point, the monitoring of these phone conversations, the break-in of Mar-a-Lago and the lawfare didn't work. And then the next thing you know, the president gets shot in Butler, and then they try to shoot him again at his own golf course here in Florida. So when the break-in of Mar-a-Lago didn't work, when the spying on these dozen or so United States senators didn't yield anything, the lawfare didn't yield anything, then all of a sudden someone made the decision to shoot him, and they did it. I mean, this is insane what's going on, and it's quite frightening. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I'll get into all the details on this, and I have a lot of other stories we're going to cover as well. The number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. The number's pinned in the live chat if you're watching live, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Diego. I'm calling from Kentucky. I called you a long time ago. I don't know if you remember me at all, but last time I called, we talked about health care and how Trump was not going to cut it. He wasn't going to do anything about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A lot has changed recently under this new fascist rule we got going on so far. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it because we got till midterms. Apparently, you said you won it. I'm interested in knowing how you won it already.
I'm confused. But this fascist what we're living under?
Rule. This fascist rule. This is a very...
Okay. Well, hold on. Slow down, because you can explain this to me. Because I'm a little slow. I'm not as smart as you, obviously. You're more well-versed in such things. Could you please define for me, and I'm sure there's people in the audience, define fascism and give examples of how it applies to President Trump's second term so we can compare and contrast and understand.
So fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, I'm not that smart, too. It's a political ideology, either way, And there's a lot of examples. I mean,
No. You didn't tell us what
Siberian
fascism is. No, that's not the definition of fascism.
fascism,
So you
the
cannot
far-right
define.
authoritarian
Nope.
and ultra-nationalist political
Nope.
idea that rose
Nope.
to prominence in the 20th
No.
century.
Oh, you just Googled your.
Europe was the
No,
most
it is
important-
not a far. It's not far right. No, that's not true. So you don't even know
Yes,
what
I mean,
fascism
it doesn't have
is.
to be far right. It could be far left. It could be far.
It's
left.
not
It could
far
be
right.
It could be in the middle.
No,
It doesn't-
no, it
well,
can't be in the
I mean,
middle,
you can look
and
it
it's
up on
not far
Google.
right. Nope, that's not the definition of fascism.
And I mean, it's militarism. What he's been doing in a lot of
Militarism.
states.
You know what? Why don't we?
authority-
You and I haven't talked in a while. Do me a favor.
Scapegoating
Do me a favor. Go back to school,
prosecution,
get a diploma, and
controlled
then
economy,
call me back. Call me back after you get some
suppression and
education. All right.
approaching.
Take care. Appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bonerville.
Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Reg.
All right,
I'm
Reg.
from Haiti. I'm calling from New York.
All right, Reg from Haiti, who's calling from New York. What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Hello?
How are you?
Hanging in there. I just called to say one thing. From the way I'm looking at things, the left-wing media, how they treat the Democrat versus Republican. Imagine if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
How the media will treat those stories where they were they spy on the senators, Republican senators, and the things that's going on right now in the street of Chicago, Portland. Imagine if it was the other way around. How
Exactly.
the media will treat it.
Exactly.
I can understand we have a president who's fighting for the people.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even getting paid to fight for us.
Yeah. It's true.
Technically, if it wasn't for President Trump, I will never know what politics is in America.
Yeah.
He really opened my mind, let me know what's really going on. I never knew what was going on, even when I used to go to the voting booth and vote. I never knew what was going on because the media will never tell me what was going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Until today, to tell you the truth, I think after President Trump leave office, the media will be finished. Nobody will watch them.
Well, no one's watching them now. They've lost their. If the media was being listened to and had influence, President Trump would not have been reelected.
And believe me, I know.
I mean, think about it. There have been over 10 years of nonstop false reporting and negative coverage of President Trump on all the mainstream media. So no one is listening to them, and they have no influence. It's obvious.
I see the reason why they try to take his life, because there's a lot of things they was hiding away from us that they didn't want the people to know what they were doing.
Like this
behind
story
closed
I'm
doors.
talking about today. Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, Brian, man, keep it up, man. Trust me, I listen to you every morning.
Well, thank you.
You have a great show, man.
You too. Oh, well, thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you.
care.
Thank you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Aaron from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
I think Trump can fix the economy, but there's something he can't fix, and that's, I mean, they've brainwashed these people and turned them into weaponized, useful idiots, and who, I mean, you see these they've been turned into these, they're all terrorists. Every single one of them, they're
insurgents.
mentally ill
I mean,
and-
what's going on in Chicago, Portland, and in California? They're insurgents, is what they are.
yeah.
Domestic terrorist insurgents. Some of them are
Insurgents.
foreign. Some of them are foreign because they're like MS-13 and things.
So I don't know how he's going to fix that. He can fix a lot of stuff. I mean,
They're
fixing gas prices, the economy,
yeah.
plus the deep state, I mean, he called it a swamp. It seems more
Well,
like
no,
a
he
cesspool.
is fixing it. You know, there aren't as the youth vote. You know, the people that you're talking about mostly are young people, and the youth vote went Republican. Okay, so they've lost the youth vote. These freaks and geeks that are with Antifa and everything are few in number, and the ones that are the foreign-born terrorists like MS-13, the Trinda guys, they're being deported and arrested in large numbers nationwide all the time. So he is taking care of it, and it's that's why they're acting out so much. They're freaking out.
Yeah, but that's radicalizing these people, pushing them to the left, and that's why you're getting stuff like they're doing the Kurt. You know, it's pushing them further because that's kind of it's okay for them to do hate speech and say we're literally Hitler, but then it's not okay. Mm-hmm. Or for us,
they're the ones. They're the ones out there. They're the ones out there firing on federal agents and shooting people dead like Charlie Kirk. Not us. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. So if you want to talk about the tactics, the other side, the side of violence, we're seeing it every night on television. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right.
50 million Americans are going to lose their fucking health care.
Okay. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Yeah, Texas. What's up?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
That's good. That's good. That's good. How's your wife? She's doing okay too?
Doing okay.
That's good. That's good. Hey, this morning, I wanted to tell you yesterday when you hung up on me about the situation in Chicago.
I don't remember the call.
Okay, well, that's fine. Anyway. Well, I just want to say, the thing that's going on with the shutting the government down over the health care thing, I really wish they would just come together and get this over with.
Well, tell your Democrat friends. The Democrats have shut down the government.
You tell your Republican friends, too, your MAGA friends, too.
We don't have enough. There's not. It takes 60 votes in the. Hold on. No. Hold on. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to pass this. We don't have 60 votes in the Senate. We need Democrats to vote with us.
I tell you what. Let's do this. If you can tell your Republican MAGA friends, I tell my Democratic friends, get together and just solve this.
We don't have to tell them. We don't have to tell them. The Republicans are all voting for this. It's just the Democrats won't.
Brian, at this point, they need to come together and get this over with.
Well, the Democrats need to. We just need a few of them to come over. All right, appreciate the call. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Cave to what they want and give up? I don't think so. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah?
Oh, shit. Seattle, Washington. I didn't know I'd actually pick up that quick.
Why did you have to use swear words? Why do you got such a potty mouth?
Sorry, my bad. I totally did not expect that.
I can put you back on hold if you want. There's other people on hold. I mean, I just grabbed your call random.
Please do.
Put you back on hold? Nah. Just say what you got to say. I could, but I'm not.
I mean, I just wanted to say thank you for fighting a good fight, man.
Okay. All right. Appreciate the call. I guess he needs to get his thoughts together. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
This story that you're just talking about with Jack Smith and the spying, think about this now. Now we know why they felt like they had to surround Mike Lindell and take his phone.
That's right. You know, the spying on these dozen Republican senators was after the Mar-a-Lago break-in. Major fishing expedition. And, they didn't find anything, obviously.
Obviously, and this is part and parcel and emblematic of how things were done with Mike Lindell, with Papadopoulos, with Mike Flynn, General Flynn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this shows a pattern of operation and just how corrupt the FBI is or was at the time.
Yeah, well, it's not just the FBI. I mean, the FBI was doing this operation, but Jack Smith was in charge of it. And it was at some point, you got to wonder, they were spying on the phone conversations of about a dozen Republican senators. And So they were also listening in on the people they were talking to. And I wonder, do you think they started listening in on the people they were having conversations with? You know, you got to wonder, and did they gather any information that they're using to blackmail anyone? You know,
probably so, and that's the thing. Again, look, people will continue to say, well, these people aren't going to get touched. Well, if all this stuff that's hanging around Jack Smith hangs around, he's going to go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope so. I mean, he's a really bad guy. I mean, there's just no getting around it. He's just a really bad guy. All right, Mike, I appreciate the call. Now, I had my meeting the other day with, since he mentioned Mike Lindell, I'll mention it now, with Mike Lindell's team. And, you know, MyPillow has sponsored the expansion of the show, this early pre-radio show, my weekend programming, as well as my afternoon shows. And last month was the first month, and you guys responded and have been loading up on MyPillow products with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Thank you so much. And they made the decision to continue, but you still have to go and go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I talk about, but as long as you're supporting Mike Lindell with my promo code Kane, he'll continue to support not just my content, but the expansion of my content as well. And if you notice in this early part of the show, you don't hear me doing commercials so much. You hear me talking about MyPillow a little bit. That's because he is sponsoring all of this, and you guys have answered the call. The free shipping offer is still in effect. And again, you can use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at MyPillow.com. So, you know, going through this story of what they did, let me pull this up because this is, let me take a call or two while I'm pulling it up. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Is this the MAGA hotline?
It's not the MAGA hotline, but I'm a MAGA guy.
That's good to know. I just had a comment about yesterday's show. I see you adorning that really sweet alligator Alcatraz shirt. Is this merch that I could pick up?
The alligator Alcatraz shirt, I bought that from the Republican Party of Florida. The Florida Republican Party were offering those. I don't know if they still are. I got them on their got it on their website.
Yeah, you know, because I want to promote people getting eaten by alligators. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? That's interesting. People have actually. You're telling me that there have been illegal migrants that have been eaten by gators at Alligator Alcatraz? I missed that in the news. How did I miss something so dramatic? Hang on. Did I answer that?Maybe it's because it didn't happen. Oh, he hung up. Oh my goodness. He hung up. I didn't hang up on him. He hung up on himself. You know, if you listen to everything that's going on, I'm going to wait until after we're on the radio to go through this article because it's a little detailed, and I want to share it with the radio audience as well as you guys. But this spy operation on the Republican senators is a big deal. You know, any member of Congress is a big deal, but United States senators, you know, they're on another to and the United States senators, the Senate, they consider themselves equal to the presidency, and to spy on the phone conversations of sitting United States senators for no reason whatsoever other than you're fishing for information because you cannot find anything. This is hardcore treason that's been going on here. Because what they were doing was trying to find information to lock Trump up so he couldn't become president again. I mean, this is hardcore treason. The interference was all done internally. You know, and, you know, all these people like Candace Owens, I might get into this later with these text messages, which I don't believe are real, most likely. These Charlie Kirk text messages, you know, and people talking about Israel taking out Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed by the same people that shot the president in Butler and tried to do it again at the golf course, okay? All right? You know, the enemy is within, and we're seeing this every day with stories like the one I just shared. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, man, I'm Tay, and I'm calling from Southern California.
Hey, what's up?
So I'm completely surrounded by nothing but dirty Democrats.
Yeah, well, you're in Southern California, right? I mean, yeah.
Yes, sir. But let me tell you something. I love Donald Trump, and Charlie Kirk's death was a complete terrible thing that happened. And I don't care what none of these people, Antifa, Democratic people are doing around here.
You know, I've heard people put videos up on social media that in Southern California, in particular, the LA freeway, the traffic hasn't been as heavy as it's been the last few years because of the deportations. Is that true?
That is true.
Wow.
That's true.
Is it really? That's amazing.
True.
That's amazing.
That is true. But you know what? How dare any of these Antifa, Democratic Party loving, disgusting people sit there and try to sit there and abolish ICE, abolish the American government.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrible.
That sure is
terrible.
It sure is. It is. I know. Well, states like California are completely dependent upon the illegals for the whole economy is set up around it. You know, the Medicaid thing that they're freaking out over, a huge chunk of the Californian economy is based around the illegals getting Medicaid to cover their emergency room visits or their walk-in medical visits, using your ERs out there as free clinics. And they're in a panic over that. Yeah.
That's right. The Medi-Cal. You're absolutely right, sweetheart. And you know what? It's absolutely disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are in such a deficit here in the state of California. I wish I could get out. I just don't have the money. But
because you're living in Southern California. You know, my daughter just moved from Los Angeles back here to Florida a few months ago. And,
God bless her. God bless her.
And the main, she loves Los Angeles, but it's just too expensive. She can't afford to leave her house when she's in California, right?
It's not even too expensive. It's criminalized.
It is.
Why would you want to leave your house?
It is. I know. It's crazy.
You can't even. You can't even go out and about without shotguns going off and people running across the street. The homelessness.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
It's terrible. Do you know that you can download an app that sits there and shows you where people in San Francisco shit?
Oh, that's nice. Listen, on that lovely note, I got to move on because they're getting ready to switch us over on the radio, and this is certainly not a call for that. But I appreciate the call and welcome to the program. Yeah, there's an app that does that. I don't think I'm going to download that app. What about you guys? All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We got about 90 seconds until they switch us over at the radio station. And I don't want to take any calls during the switch. But again, this entire expansion of the program is brought to you by Mr. Mike Lindell and MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code Kane, Kane, so that Mike Lindell will continue to sponsor the expansion of the program. Okay, I'm starting early, going late every day, the afternoon show, my weekend programming, all of that brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. And you got to show him that his support is money well spent. And you do that by going to MyPillow.com and using my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, we got about a minute. So if you're on hold, stand by. And then we're going to go through everything here on the program today. We got a lot to cover. Callers on hold, you stand by. And remember, once the radio switches over, no profanity, okay? No profanity. Oh, man. Welcome, everyone. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. Those of you watching on the live stream with the green screen behind me, seeing the green, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video that I share and everything I show on screen. You can see on my main stream, and there's a link in the description of the video with the green behind me that'll take you directly to my main YouTube live stream. All right, stand by. Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Craig. It is Tuesday, October 7th already. Can you believe it? You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Callers on hold, you stand by. The lead story today, I got a lot of stories to cover today. I'm going to cover a lot, but the lead story today is this new revelation that came out from Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Jack Smith was tracking the private communications and calls of around a dozen Republican senators. They had the FBI doing this, and the surveillance on these Republican senators began after the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. This is Marsha Blackburn, one of the senators who was being spied upon illegally by Jack Smith and the FBI during the Otto-Penn Biden regime.
What we know is this, that the FBI under Joe Biden and under Barack Obama, that they exercised activity that they had no authority to exercise. And as Senator Haggerty mentioned, we know what they did in 2016 to the Trump transition team. Mm-hmm. And now we find out that after the Mar-a-Lago raid, after the indictment of President Trump, they surveil us, people who support President Trump, members who are all Republicans. But it shows you how out of control and rotten to the core and politicized the FBI had become, and how they had absolutely no problem at all whatsoever with political weaponization. We appreciate the information we've gotten today. We look forward to further investigation on this.
Okay, pretty scary. So they broke into Mar-a-Lago and found nothing. So then they started this illegal surveillance, not just of their phones, but all of their electronic communications, so text messages, emails, apps, and such, of a dozen Republican senators. Senators are a big deal, pretty high-ranking government officials, very high-ranking. Really second only to the president. They're big. Being a United States senator is a big deal. And some of these are senior senators like Lindsey Graham. And that was obviously a fishing expedition as well. And while the common thinking may be, well, they obviously didn't find anything. Well, that's not necessarily true. They might have found some things that were embarrassing or with some of these people or their family members or friends and relatives that they were communicating with. And some of these Republican senators, they could be dealing with blackmail, with extortion right now. And we just don't know about it. I wouldn't be so sure that they didn't find anything. Okay? I'm not saying they did, but I wouldn't assume that they didn't. They were not just listening in on their phone conversations, they were monitoring any form of communication, whether it was a DM or an email as well. And they were also tracking the metadata to find out who called who and who communicated first in these communications, where they were located, on and on and on. And you got to wonder, how much did they do that we don't even know about yet? There's been over a decade-long illegal operation against Trump and the entire MAGA movement in this country. And what we've been living under is an illusion of freedom. What this country really has been run like the Soviet Union was run, like East Germany, like Castro's Cuba. We've not been living in a free country. And I'm going to go through some of the details on this as the program goes on. And I got a lot of other stories I want to comment on. But you Democrats out there, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Spying on 12 sitting United States senators who did nothing, weren't even accused of doing anything other than being pro-Trump's reelection. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. I'm Dave. I'm calling from Montana.
Hey, Dave.
Question for you. Am I projecting, or do you kind of think that maybe for example, just your life, that right now our society is a little bit not being able to restrain itself, and perhaps our institutions, establishments are under greater pressure than you can remember, or is it just me?
I don't really, that's such a general statement you made. I don't understand what you're getting at. You got to be more specific.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm of the assumption that when people can't restrain their words or their actions, democracy or governments tend to default towards a strong man or perhaps war, unless there's some sort of new innovation. And when I take a look at the news, be it conservative or liberal, we can't just live in a isolated chamber and imagine that politics doesn't come to us. And it seems to me as if our society is under a little bit of press right now.
By who? By who? You said strong
me,
man. You said, yeah, I heard you say strong man. Who are you talking about?
History. So when governments tend to come
why don't we talk about what's going on today instead of histories?
Okay.
We talk about the news, not, this isn't a history program. I'm not Ken Burns.
I think that to some extent, there's a lack of care and love throughout society as it relates to.
Well, then, tell the liberals to stop shooting people. Tell the liberals to stop shooting people. Tell the liberals to stop attacking federal agents. Tell the liberals to stop rebelling against the federal government in this insurrection that Illinois, Oregon, and California are leading right now, and the city of Chicago specifically.
Right, but it's difficult to ask people to stop that don't want to stop.
Well, then you arrest them and put them in jail.
Or a new innovation to foster character. So Trump had hoped for character over DEI and other metrics. Kamala Harris had asked for more joy. Now, these are the same vision, just coming from different perspectives.
No, listen, the Democrat Party is evil. They're evil. There's nothing good about the Democrat Party. Do you agree with that or not?
Well, I think that both sides of the Eagles' wings.
Both sides of the Eagles' wins at the highest point of the mountaintop. What are you talking? Are you a poet, or do you write Hallmark cards or something? I really don't understand what you're trying to communicate.
Well, what I'm trying to communicate is at the highest levels, I think that they take positions and they corner the market on them.
How is MAGA cornering positions and listen, this is what's going on. The Democrats lost. They lost big. Their party has almost evaporated from existence, and they're involved in an open rebellion against the federal government of the United States in a desperate attempt to regain control. That's what's going on.
Well, I don't want to attack the structures of any institution.
Well, you're not saying much. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, but I don't know what you're talking about. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Jay from Seattle. I was on earlier. I had potty mouth. I want to apologize for that. That was totally disrespectful.
Okay.
I got a quick question for you, and it has to do with transgenderism. I got a link from a guy earlier, a friend of mine, per se, and he linked three things, one from the Daily Wire and one from Yahoo, and in the link it said baseless claim about Trump wanting to murder transgenders.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to clarify some information with you, because you tend to do a lot of research. So give me the details, bud.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about transgenders.
Well, I get you're not talking about transgenders. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very much a Republican. I'm just curious because, like I said, the Daily Wire posted on it, and Yahoo News, which is
and what do they say?
Company.
What do they say? What does the Daily Wire say?
The Daily Wire mentioned something about Daily Wire reporter wants to clarify on transgender ideology as terrorism.
Well, I think what they're talking about is I don't know with that. I haven't read that article, but the Charlie Kirk assassin is a gay liberal man who's in a relationship with a transgender person, and he shot Charlie Kirk just as he was talking about transgender issues. So I think when they talk about trans Tifa, they're talking about that guy.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Totally get that. I'm with
and
you
there
100%
there have been some high profile shootings. This one recently in Minneapolis was a trans shooter. The shooter in Nashville was a trans shooter. There's been a number of trans shooters that have gotten very violent. That might be but that's not what I'm talking about today. It has nothing to do with what's in the news today. So I appreciate the call.
Sorry about that.
It's one call per show, so you can call me on another day. All right, take care. So we'll take our first break. When we get back, I want to get into more details about this Jack Smith spying operation. And if you notice, Democrats have been calling me en masse this morning, and you notice how they're trying to get me to talk about anything but, right? I can't get any diversions going on here. But I want to ask you this. Are you in pain? That means you haven't gone to see Dr. Appleton yet. You know, Dr. Appleton offers free consultations. That's right. The consultations are free. If you're in pain, no matter what your pain is, go see Dr. Appleton. Cost you nothing, free consultation, and talk to him about what his robotic laser treatment can do for you. You know, I've been telling you guys for years, he's rid me of pain 7 times. And that's without any drugs, any surgery, right? No shots, nothing. Just the robotic laser, which is not only painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. And I've been so many listeners these past few years that Dr. Appleton has been with us, and they're living a pain-free life. And when I meet them, I always know that they're going to tell me that Dr. Appleton rid them of pain because they walk up to me with their hand over a part of their body. Sometimes it's their neck, their knee, their hip, their elbow, their hand. They always walk up to me holding a part of their body. And then they tell me, I used to hurt here until Dr. Appleton and the laser away pain treatment. That's right, it works. You know, we've had listeners travel from all over the United States to be treated by Dr. Appleton. He is that good. So if you're in pain, go see him. You know, pain is not a part of growing older. You can live a pain-free life without surgery, without shots, without addictive pain medications and all of that. Of course, not only is the consultation free with Dr. Appleton, appointments are never necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make an appointment. You can. And if you'd like to make an appointment, please do. And if you're coming from out of town, you might want to make an appointment. But you don't have to. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. All right. So when I get back, I'm going to play... Well, I'll go through this article. We'll play this to you guys. This was Greg Kelly had the president on last night on Newsmax talking about this Jack Smith spy operation.
Jack Smith, we just found out that he had some of your key allies under surveillance, wiretapping, finding their phone records, everybody from Tommy Tuberville, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, senator from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? I did not know. Nobody had any idea.
A little while ago, I did. He was a sleazebag, Jack Smith. He was a bad guy, terrible guy. Always went too far. He was a violent, horrible prosecutor, and he's paying the price. I tell you what, people. What he did to the lives of so many people, and he tried on me. This guy was a bad guy, and you know the reason he lost is because he went too far. When you go too far, sometimes you get away with it, but they didn't get away with it here.
Yeah, now the last line of the president.
Jack Smith was a sick person.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. See, and remember, this spying on the senators that Jack Smith did was after the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, right? So, and I'm wondering, it was before the shooting? Everything we've seen shows desperation, doesn't it? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm calling from New York City.
Hey, New York, turn down the volume in the background.
Yeah, I'm calling from New York City.
There's a delay, so you got to turn down whatever device you're listening to me on. Just turn the volume down and listen on the phone.
I did. Rookie mistake.
All right, that's okay. What's on your mind?
I just want to ask one thing. Is it too late, man? Is it too late now? If everybody wakes up, we start waking, is it too late? Have we gone too far?
About what?
Have they gone too far?
About what?
About what? Okay, the liberals, man, destroying this country.
It's a MAGA country. A year ago we won a national election, every battleground state.
It is.
They're losing. But now you guys got a problem in New York. You've got this
everywhere.
No, DEI's gone. President Trump ended DEI. Now in New York, you've got a problem because you've got this Islamic socialist about to become the mayor of New York City. And that's not good.
Yeah, we got a big problem in New York, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got a big problem. So you have to understand, you're in Florida, man. I don't feel like you. I don't feel as positive as you do, man. I'm in New York City. I'm like a zoo. I'm like a zoo exhibit when I walk around here.
Yeah,
I'm like the only Republican.
You know that old saying: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I mean, how much do we have to expose about Zohan to try to wake people up in New York? But the anti-Semitism is at an all-time high, and a love of socialism is at an all-time high in New York City. And Governor Cuomo's an idiot. He's running a pathetic campaign, and Curtis Lee was a joke.
It's man, I have doorman friends who are asking me, please come talk to the younger guys in my building. They're all voting for Mamdani.
Oh my gosh!
I'm like, if I come talk to them, we're just going to get into a fight.
No, don't get into a fight. Don't get into a fight.
They're in love with him.
Don't get into a fight. What are they? You know what? We're coming back on the radio. We're in a break. And we're going to be back on the radio in 30 seconds. I want to hold you through because I want to talk about what's going on in New York City with Mamdani, because this is the beginning of the end. The rest of you on hold, you hang in there. You hold on. I'm going to keep you on. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. And then, what was your first name again?
Sal.
Sal?
Yep, Sal.
All right. Sal from New York. Okay. Got about 10 seconds. Hold on. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. I got Sal from New York on the line. We were talking, and, you've got this Zohan Mamdani is the favorite to become the mayor of New York City. This is a god-awful thing. This is a major domino to fall in this country, and New York City may be lost forever if he wins.
Oh man, don't even say that. I'm hoping and praying every day something good happens or some kind of scandal comes out on this guy.
Would it matter? Would a scandal matter? With these idiot, brain-dead, socialist, anti-Semitic liberals that are in New York City, what kind of scandal would it take to get them not to vote for him? I can't imagine. I haven't heard. One thing,
you got me on that one.
Yeah, we have a lot of listeners in New York City. That's why I cover this so much, because everyone knows that Zohan Mamdani will not condemn the global intifada. No one has asked him to condemn 9/11. No one. And
oh my God, you're going to have to read out the names. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Every year, September 11th, isn't that part of the mayoral duty?
Well, that was about it. Yeah, think about it. The next 9/11, he'll be there at the ceremony, and you got to ask yourself.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I just thought of that.
Yeah, it's scary. Who won the war? If he becomes mayor, and at the next 9/11 remembrance, and he's officiating it. Who won the war on terror? Us or them?
We did, man.
No, I don't know about that. Not if Mamdani becomes mayor. If Mamdani becomes mayor, I would say we lost the war.
So we're going to have New York City and London, right, with Muslim mayors.
Well, where are the 9/11 families coming out demanding that he condemn 9/11? No one's even asked him.
Everybody's scared here, Brian. Everybody, you cannot even open your mouth. We are such a small minority here, and I can't even explain how bad it is. I have so many friends that moved to Florida. I am so happy for them, but not really because they left, but I'm happy. I know why they left to Florida. It's bad here. It really is bad here, man.
Let me tell you, a lot of people say, well, New York, Dinkins was a wake-up call. Dinkins was just an incompetent Democrat. This is different. This is an ideological foothold like they have in Minnesota that they're trying to do to New York City. And Governor Cuomo, he's like asleep. He's an idiot.
He's a sure fail.
Yeah. All right, Sal from New York. Good luck. Take care. It's scary. So let's get back to this. So we're talking about the Jack Smith spying on a dozen U.S. senators after the Mar-a-Lago break-in. President Trump was on Newsmax last night with Greg Kelly.
Jack Smith, we just found out that he had some of your key allies under surveillance, wiretapping, finding their phone records, everybody from Tommy Tuberville, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, senator from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? I did not know. Nobody had any idea.
A little while ago, I did. He was a sleazebag, Jack Smith. He was a bad guy, terrible guy, always went too far. He was a violent, horrible prosecutor, and he's paying the price. I tell you what, he's people, what he did to the lives of so many people, and he tried on me. This guy was a bad guy. And the reason he lost is because he went too far. When you go too far, sometimes you get away with it, but they didn't get away with it here. Jack Smith was a sick person.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he still is a sick person. And, this, so the spying on the senators began after the break-in to Mar-a-Lago. So they break into Mar-a-Lago, they found nothing. So then they start this spy operation and whatever. And then the next thing you know, the president got shot. I mean, what is going on here? There has been such a political establishment, deep state operation against this president. That's why people out there, I say, I'll never disagree with President Trump. I'll never criticize President Trump. Not that he said or done anything I disagree with. The only thing I disagree with him about is I don't get tired of winning. But look at everything he's been through, and he's back in the Oval Office for another term. It's an absolute miracle. He's beat people that were doing things beyond imagination, like we're talking about this morning. So how could you not support him in every effort that he makes to do whatever it is? He didn't have to go through all this. All he had to do was not run. But he did. So they did all of this. They tried to put him in prison. All these things that they put him through. He's a Nelson Mandela-like figure. He just didn't end up in jail. The only reason Donald Trump is not in prison is that he won the election. If he had not won and Kamala Harris had won, that judge in New York would have sentenced him to prison. He'd be in prison right now. You know that. And I've talked to a lot of Democrats this morning. They're trying to divert me on every topic but this, which tells you that they know it's wrong. They're ashamed. They're embarrassed. They can't even comment on it. Now, I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. At Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get new tires, brand new tires, out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. Remember, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount your tire, or dispose of your old tires. You can get all the name brand tires you know and love at discounted prices. He has thousands of good used tires in stock, and he also does tire repairs. Give Friendly Tire a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. We'll be right back. Okay, let me pull up a couple of things here. Okay, I'm going to play this when we get back. This is a Democrat senator from Oregon talking about the violence in Portland. Listen to this idiot.
Protesters are peaceful, but they have videographers behind them, and then they start throwing down pepper balls and tear gas to film it, to try to create the impression of chaos where there wasn't chaos. It's Trump creating the chaos because he wants violence and chaos to justify more authoritarian power. This is an incredibly perilous moment for our nation.
Oh, so the protesters are peaceful. It's President Trump that's the problem. That's what he wants us to believe. That's one of the sitting senators from Oregon. And, you know, the stupidity that's coming from the left, it shows you who's paying them, because we know that the things they do them all for money, right? That's it. That's it. They do it all for money. They don't do anything for free. There's another clip I want to play in the next hour. Or after the break. Hold on, I got to pull it up. Okay, yeah.
Let me first talk about the Trust Act.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play this too after the bottom of the hour at some point. This is the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. They don't have a chief. They got a superintendent. I don't know why they call him a superintendent. Listen, he's talking about the cops not responding to give backup to the federal agents.
Let me first talk about the Trust Act. The Trust Act prohibits law enforcement in the state of Illinois from engaging in assisting federal agents when it comes to immigration enforcement. We abide by that law. Let me first talk about the Trust Act.
So there's a gun battle on the streets of Chicago, and they can't respond because of this thing called the Trust Act. If there's a gun battle on the streets of the city, they're obliged to get involved. Now, it's October, it's Medicare open enrollment period. If you're 65 years of age or older and a Medicare recipient, call Chapter. They cover all 50 states. There's over 24,000 Medicare policies, and Chapter has access to all of them. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. It's up on your screen, and it's also in the description of the video. When you call, you're going to get a live agent on the phone, and they're going to help you absolutely for free. They're going to make sure your doctors are covered, your prescriptions are covered next year, and you're not paying too much. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. An open enrollment period is the only time of year that you can make changes to your existing policy. So give them a call, 805-754-3033, 805-754-3033. All right, we're coming back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. It is Tuesday, October 7th. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. So President Trump sending the National Guard to Chicago, and everyone was talking yesterday in the news about the story that I was covering yesterday morning. I was first, very lucky, about these Chicago police officers not responding to the federal agents from ICE who were attacked by a group of 10 cars filled with people with rifles and this gun battle. And then the superintendent of the Chicago police force came out and had a press conference yesterday and said this stupid thing. The superintendent is what they call the chief of police in Chicago.
Let me first talk about the Trust Act. The Trust Act prohibits law enforcement in the state of Illinois from engaging in assisting federal agents when it comes to immigration enforcement. We abide by that law.
Okay. That's not what happened here. There was a gun battle going on the streets of Chicago, and the chief of the patrol units ordered them not to respond. That's not immigration enforcement. When there is a shootout on the streets of Chicago, the police are obligated to respond, not give stand-down orders and allow the gunfight at the OK Corral to continue like it's the wild, wild west. And the reality of the situation is that this Chicago police chief of patrol was trying to get the ICE agents killed. And things are pretty bad there. Listen to this. This is Fox News yesterday.
National Guard troops being deployed in both Chicago and Portland, Oregon, are being mobilized under Title 10. That means without the approval of the state's governor, acting under federal control. But they are barred from making arrests.
Okay, they're not there to make arrest. They're there really kind of as a presence and try to deter a crime in these attacks on federal buildings and federal agents. They don't make arrest. They just kind of hang out with their guns and their big vehicles and their tanks.
Generally, or carrying out any direct law enforcement activities under posse comitatus. That is, unless the president invokes the Insurrection Act, which he said tonight is on the table.
Okay, now play this clip. Now, this is really amazing. The president, I wish we weren't getting to this level. But there is I was telling you yesterday, and I stand by it, there is a insurrection against the federal government taking place in Portland and in Chicago right now as we speak.
So to speak. And
President Trump not ruling out invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow National Guard troops to carry out domestic law enforcement activities, even against the wishes of local authorities.
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary.
Right now, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker suing to stop the Guard from deploying to Chicago under more narrow orders of protecting federal property, which doesn't require the Insurrection Act. But the war of words is escalating, Pritzker painting the troops as an unconstitutional invasion and accusing the administration of inciting violence they say they need to respond to.
See, what the governor of Illinois is doing, and then the mayor of Chicago with his ice-free zone announcement yesterday, They are justifying the violence against the federal officers, and they're also trying, with the left, what the left are always trying to do is create these narratives, these false narratives, propaganda. Narratives are propaganda, and they're trying to get this narrative going that the criminals are ICE. They're the criminals. Not the people boxing them in, not the people shooting at them, not the people throwing bricks at them. ICE, they're the criminals. Here's the governor of Illinois, Fatso.
This escalation of violence is targeted and intentional and premeditated.
Now, again, he's talking about ICE arrest. He's not talking about the attacks on ICE.
Why? To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act.
That's right.
So that he can send military troops to our city.
The White House defending mobilizations in Chicago and Portland, Oregon.
For more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege. We saw, again, a guillotine rolled out in front of this federal building.
And starting to argue that...
And by the way, this guillotine that they wheeled out, this backs up the theory that the gallows on January 6th were put out there by Antifa. They like to bring out gallows. They like to bring out guillotines. They bring out these props.
And starting to argue that insurrection is happening in a literal sense.
Portland's been on fire for years. I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection.
And a legal sense.
We have seen over the last 9 months a ongoing legal insurrection, rulings that are flagrantly unlawful and unconstitutional, and it is an insurrection against the laws and Constitution of the United States.
A Trump-appointed judge temporarily blocked deployments to Portland, but the administration thinks they'll ultimately win, as they did after a similar deployment earlier this year in Los Angeles. Meantime, on day 6 of the government shutdown, the White House ramping up pressure.
If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck.
Okay, now we'll get into that in a little bit. But everything the Democrats are doing in regards to the ICE officers, they are actually instigating the violence, and then they're justifying it. In fact, what the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are doing is not just justifying the violence, right? They're portraying these attackers of ICE as people that are defending themselves from these criminals that are wearing masks from ICE in their communities. And they're saying this every time they can get in front of a camera. Anytime there's a microphone, they're saying this. And they've been saying this for weeks, but the violence is going on right now. The attacks are going on. And even after these very dangerous and deadly attacks where people getting shot and everything else, they're still out there promoting these narratives. And then they had this press conference yesterday, and they bring out this woman who's talking about the illegals getting deported in Chicago. Everything that Chicago, and it's the entire state of Illinois, but the center of activity is Chicago, are in open rebellion against law and order. This is an insurrection against the federal government. Listen to this at the press conference yesterday in Chicago.
Whew. Take your time. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. This weekend attack.
See, an attack on us. She's talking about the elite. They found somebody who speaks English with an American accent. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. See, this goes back to the redefinition of what America is. When they say America, they don't mean the United States of America. They mean the Americas, North and South America. You're all American. If you're in Chile, you're an American. You're in Guyana, you're an American, right? Because you're in South America.
Whew. Take your time. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. This weekend's attack on workers and on families.
On workers. See, notice this, on workers. The illegals are not migrants anymore. They're now calling them workers. It's like they changed global warming to climate change because the weather wasn't agreeing. See, remember I told you that the Democrats, they're all about these false narratives, propaganda. They're not migrants. You know, we call them illegals. They were calling them migrants. They've dropped migrants. Now they're workers. These are just people working.
Whew. Take your time. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. This weekend's attack on workers and on families. Children were arrested this weekend.
No, children were not arrested. Okay? The children were separated to be questioned to find out if they are with their parents or if they are a sex slave or a labor slave who's being forced to work in some restaurant or something or some sweatshop in Chicago. Children were not arrested. These people are out of their freaking minds.
Whew. Take your time. Yes. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. This weekend's attack on workers and on families. Children were arrested this weekend. It's just the pattern of escalation that we've been seeing in our communities. It's just that it happened downtown.
Okay. Now, the escalation isn't the 10 cars boxing in and getting and people getting out of their cars with rifles and firing at federal agents from ICE. That's not the violence she's talking about. She's talking about illegals being arrested and processed for deportation. That's the violence. Okay, I hit the rewind button by mistake. I apologize, guys.
Whew. Take your time. An attack on us is an attack on all of America. This weekend's attack on workers and on families. Children were arrested this weekend. It's just the pattern of escalation that we've been seeing in our communities. It's just that it happened downtown. Right now in Broadview, there are 200 people in a place that is not a detention center. They are being held in inhumane conditions. There are no beds. There are no showers. There is limited food.
Oh my goodness. They're going hungry now and they can't bathe.
They order children's meals from Subway to eat.
Sounds good to me. Who doesn't like a Subway sub?
We are not allowed to speak to any of our clients that are held in that facility. It is a black hole, and people go missing for days. People are being forced to sign their voluntary departure forms, and their families are being denied access to them.
Well, they're signing these voluntary deportation forms so that they have an opportunity to come back in the country and don't face a 20-year ban. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I want to talk about Mike Lindell and MyPillow. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at MyPillow.com. And a lot of you know that I have greatly expanded the program and everything that I do over the past month or so. And that's being brought to you and sponsored by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. So let Mike Lindell know that his support is money well spent. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout. But you're not just supporting us and Mike Lindell. You're getting great products. I call my home a MyPillow home because I have all these MyPillow products. I have the sheets, the mattress topper, a mattress. I have all the different types of pillows. I've got the towels. I've got the slippers. I've got the bathrobes. The pet beds. I've got it all. And I've bought all of them except the first pillow I bought with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, because Mike Lindell wasn't a sponsor of ours when I bought that first pillow. And I'd seen Mike Lindell on TV for years talking about the MyPillow. And okay, a pillow's a pillow. I tried every pillow there is out there. And that first night that I slept on the MyPillow was a life-changing night. That MyPillow is absolutely amazing. You will sleep like you've never slept before with the MyPillow. That patented fill inside, it perfectly rests your head and neck so you don't toss and turn at night. And every time you toss and turn, even though you may not remember it, you interrupt your REM sleep. You've woken up. You're interrupting your sleep. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, and it's well-rested REM sleep because I've got my MyPillows. I've got my MyPillow mattress topper, the 3-inch mattress topper. Huge discounts on those with our promo code Kane. I've got the MyPillow sheets. I've got everything. And you will sleep like Goldilocks each and every night. If you think you've gotten a great night's sleep, you have not gotten a good night's sleep until you're sleeping with all these great MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Free shipping available as well. Promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at MyPillow.com. We'll take our last break of the hour and be right back. All right. Hold on, guys.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, guys, we will be back shortly. If you're on hold, stand by. Let me check the time here. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is local news story. Listen to this.
Other breaking.
Hold on, let me cue this up. By the way, if you're watching with the green screen behind me, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio that I play. Listen to this story. This is crazy.
Other breaking news that we're following this afternoon, a high-ranking member of a street gang is charged with putting a hit out on a senior law enforcement official involved with Operation Midway Blitz. Police arrested 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez this morning, and according to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, Martinez sent a Snapchat message stating, quote, $2K on information when you get him and $10K if you take him down. The Tribune reports the alleged target was Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. A court date has not been set. Other breaking news that we're following this afternoon.
They're out there putting hits out on federal agents, and they're still being defended. I've never, for the life of me, a caller in the last hour has said, and others have said this, could you imagine if things were reversed? Well, I'm going to get into this when we get back. What time is it? Okay, we got about a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It is Tuesday. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Listen to this local story out of Chicago yesterday.
Other breaking news that we're following this afternoon, a high-ranking member of a street gang is charged with putting a hit out on a senior law enforcement official involved with Operation Midway Blitz. Police arrested 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez this morning. And according to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, Martinez sent a Snapchat message stating, quote, $2K on information when you get him and $10K if you take him down. The Tribune reports the alleged target was Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. A court date has not been set.
Yeah, what's the nationality and legal status of that person? So they're putting out hits on not just border agents, we heard that, but this is the head of the whole agency, a Trump appointee. That's insanity. And, this is really happening. This guy's been arrested for this. And I'm sure you've seen that story of that judge's house that caught on fire. They're trying to blame MAGA for that. I don't know. I'm hoping that the real cause of that judge's house fire is going to come out soon. I find it rather suspicious that she was walking along the beach while her entire family was in the house when it burst into flames. But there's less than zero evidence that that's a political thing, right? It's a suspicious fire, no doubt about it. And the major suspicion is she was on the beach when the fire broke out and the whole family was inside the house. But they have all these stories because she had some ruling against Trump blaming MAGA for it, right? You get all these incidences of real violence where we know the violence is happening. They're putting hits out on ICE agents, border agents, and the head of the agency. Even made an arrest. So we have the proof that it happened, not even being covered. I got to play local news stories to you, right? What's going on here is you've got the evil Democrat Party that is fading away from existence, and they're desperately trying to keep their party intact. All right. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Jeff. How you doing?
All right, Jeff.
Brian, I wasn't going to call today because I think I needed a break from you, but I was watching and listening to you just now, and you started talking about the violence from the left, right? And that it's proof that it's always the left is what you said. Am I correct? That, it just, it's not the right that blew up the house. And we don't know for sure if it was the right that blew up that judge's house. We don't know who did it. And just like we don't know that the kid that shot Charlie Kirk is a liberal because it hasn't come out. It hasn't been in court.
Excuse me. Hold on a second. The assassin of Charlie. But you've got now. No. You hold on. Hold on a second here. I'm here till 9 every day. Okay. The kid and the kid. The assassin of Charlie Kirk is gay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a boyfriend that he lived with who's transitioning to become a woman. So he's got a transgendered boyfriend, and he shot the number 2 voice in the MAGA movement, Charlie Kirk, dead. I think his liberal credentials are pretty strong.
Well, his family wasn't strong MAGA?
What does that mean? What does that mean? You know that President Trump's parents were both Democrats? What does that mean? We now go by people's parents?
Yeah, Trump was a Democrat too, and then he became a Republican.
So what does the affiliation of his parents have to do? We know he's a Democrat.
Exactly. Oh, you do you? You know that
he killed the number 2 guy in the MAGA movement. He's gay and has a transgendered boyfriend. What do you think? He's MAGA? What do you think his politics are?
So nobody in MAGA is gay. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. We have gays for Trump. However, why would a gay for Trump person assassinate Charlie Kirk? It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Anyways, I'm going to move forward.
I don't blame you for moving forward.
What about the Mormon church shooter? Was he? He wasn't MAGA.
I don't know what he was.
He wasn't MAGA.
I don't know what he was. But that's different than the Charlie Kirk assassination. Whatever the story is with the Mormon church guy, okay, that was not a political thing. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was a major deep state political establishment hit to try to take down the MAGA movement. It's a big difference. It was a political assassination done for political purposes. You're talking about a madman in a random crime.
Gone to trial yet?
No,
Brian hasn't even gone to trial yet.
There wasn't a political motivation to it. I'm not talking about random crimes. There were people that most of the country's MAGA, right? It's a MAGA country. So there are MAGA people who do commit crimes, but we're talking about political crimes. A political assassination is different than a random crime. You know that you're not completely stupid. You know better. You know what I'm saying is right.
You know something? Can I just say something? I'm going to just say something because I remember you saying last week that you couldn't go and sit at your favorite Starbucks because people had just become mad lately. Do you think maybe that you should look inward towards yourself as to how you talk to people? And maybe that's why you can't
Sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones. No matter what someone says, it doesn't justify shooting them dead or shooting them anyway.
No, it doesn't. But what I'm saying is you just saying you're not that. What you just said to me was you're not completely stupid.
Well, yeah, there's Democrats out there. Listen. The political violence. Excuse me. The political violence in the United States today. The political violence is 100% from the left.
I don't think so, pal. The statistics don't say that.
What statistics are you talking about? Give me the example of MAGA political violence that's going on today.
January 6th.
No.
January 6th.
No, that was first off. Yes. That was over 4 years ago. I'm talking about today.
Oh, okay. Today? All right, the one that tried it, the MAGA, another one that tried to take out. You keep blaming the left for trying to take out Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, when you had no idea that kid, what he was, comes from a MAGA family.
You don't when you go to people, okay, and with their political affiliations, you don't go to their families, you go to them. If the shooter in Butler was MAGA, why would he shoot the MAGA president running for president again? If he was MAGA, why would he have shot Trump?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the trial to come out so I can find out.
Well, he's dead. He got killed.
Okay, so there's not going to be an investigation then. Is that what you're telling me? They have already.
You didn't even know that he was dead. No. If the shooter in Butler that shot the president in the ear, right? If he was MAGA, why would he have shot Trump?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that.
Well, because it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense when I say it to you, does it? The political violence today is 100% from the left.
It's not.
Well, but you can't tell me the MAGA violence. The MAGA political violence, where is it?
All right, and again, Nancy Pelosi's husband. That was political.
No,
that was a MAGA.
No, that was a gay homeless addict from the streets of Illinois, not MAGA. Nope.
No.
Nope, that was not MAGA.
All right. Oh, but it's okay though. What do you mean it's not MAGA? But
a homeless gay drug addict on the streets of San Francisco? How's that MAGA? Yeah, I know.
You know what?
This is what happens when you listen to MSNBC. You start saying stupid stuff, and now that I've fed it back to you, you know you sound stupid. Listen, I got to run for the top of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. 888-465-2631 is our number. We'll be right back. My goodness. Brutal. Now listen, if you are 65 years of age or older, it is Medicare open enrollment period. This is the only time of year you can make changes to your Medicare. You know, a lot of insurance companies are pulling out of states and counties. So you want to call Chapter. They cover the entire United States. The number on your screen will get you to a live agent. They'll answer all your questions. It's all for free, by the way. It'll cost you nothing. They'll make sure that your doctors and prescriptions are covered next year. They'll make sure you're not paying too much. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare, and they'll also make sure that you're getting all the Medicare benefits you're entitled to. So give them a call no matter what state you are in, 805-754-3033. They'll review your Medicare policy for free. You know, once open enrollment is over, that's it. You're stuck with what you got. 805-754-3033. That's 805-754-3033. Okay, well, I got to get organized for the next hour. Yeah, give them a call, guys. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in about a minute. about a minute. Stand by. All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. If you're on hold, stand by. What I started with in the last hour was the spy operation on 12 U.S. senators that included Lindsey Graham, Marsha Blackburn, and other well-known Republican senators. 12 GOP senators were spied upon by Jack Smith and the Biden FBI after the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. And before the shooting of the president. So that's what we were talking about at the top of the show. We'll take some of these calls, and we got a lot more to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Oh, my goodness, what a morning already. I have to tell you, you're wrong, though. That one caller that's 1,000% biased for anything to do with the left is a complete moron. You know, you ask him a question, and all he can do is bring up years ago for January 6th, which, of course, was infiltrated by the left.
Yeah.
You know, because that procedure, they forget it was a procedure so that they wouldn't steal the election. They needed the distraction.
Well, the left have, this is what they do. When they're cornered, they have one or two lifelines. January 6th or Epstein. They mention one of those two things to try to distract. But even if January 6th was what they claim it to be, okay, and it wasn't, but even if it was, that's not going on today. And we have one incident. We would have, if that were true, we would have one incident. They have one about every other day, and they're going on right now as we speak. So come on, it's
absolutely. That's why I love that debate. For every one thing they complain about, I can name 5 off the top of my head that they do on a basis.
Well, they're doing it right now.
The bias.
They're doing it right now.
Absolutely. It doesn't make sense. And as soon as you ask them, they want to talk else negative that they've heard on channels.
Yeah.
And they're told and they're sold. They're more they're easily manipulated. And look, I get it. You know, if you're part of that homosexual community, you're going to support the Democrats because that's who you get.
I mean, how can this new standard they have, like with you hear this time and time again. This is one of their talking points. The talking points of the left are so absurd. The assassin of Charlie Kirk, they're telling us, well, his parents are MAGA. Well, first off, I'm not so sure about that. I know everybody says that, but all of a sudden, you don't look at someone's own life or politics or lifestyle. You look at their parents. Since when do we determine someone's politics based on the politics of their parents? I've never heard such a standard before, and it makes sense to them when they're talking amongst themselves. But you hear that guy Jeff is an idiot, and when I said it out loud back to him, you could tell he felt stupid.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, and again, I'm sure he has a lot of friends. What a guy! But that's biblical. I mean, you're supposed to obey your parents in the Lord. Now, you're under their roof and things, but you know, and it is true. Environment can a few people.
Now, let me ask you. You're in Pompano. Where do you? How do you listen to the program? Online?
I do. I listen to iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Okay, just checking. Just checking. All right, that's cool. Well, I appreciate. Yeah.
YouTube.
Okay. And sometimes on YouTube. Just checking. All right. Appreciate the call, Chris. All right. You take care. You take care. If you're on hold, stand by. Candace Owens has a new Charlie Kirk conspiracy. You know, she gave up talking about Macron and his wife. I guess, you know, that played its course. And now every day she has a new addition to the Charlie Kirk assassination conspiracy.
He was going through some spiritual changes towards the end. Catholics were hoping that he'd take the next step because he was praying the rosary. I never said he converted because he didn't. That would have been dishonest. But people were somehow really angry. Somebody clearly hit the panic button. Suddenly a bunch of videos were being made disputing the narrative. People were going, I knew Charlie and he was truly evangelical to his core. Blah, 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 blah. And I want to tell you this, it felt coordinated. It felt fake. It felt unnecessary. But most importantly, it was untrue. Okay, it wasn't true. And I'm going to share with you some more truth so that you can contextualize it. Charlie was attending Mass weekly. He was sometimes even attending Mass daily. He was not attending Pastor Rob McCoy's church. As I mentioned before, yes, he was praying the rosary. Charlie, in fact, was wearing the St. Michael pendant when he died.
Okay, now let me share this with you. You know, I'm Catholic, so I would like everyone to be Catholic. But this rabbit hole of conspiracy around Charlie Kirk, okay, that Candace Owens is promoting. She's right about that saint, and Charlie Kirk's widow does wear that today.
Okay. As has already been publicized, Erica took a Catholic bishop with her to pray over his body on the day that he died. These are all indisputable facts. And it is also a fact, which was presented by Megyn Kelly, that a few weeks before his death, Erica had a priest come over to pray over them when some witches thought it would be funny, whatever, to put a hex on him.
Okay, now this is why I played this today. I mentioned, if you're on hold, hang in there. These witches that put a hex on Charlie Kirk. My guess would be this is why they called in the priest and the rosaries and such were involved. They put a hex on him and then he got shot dead. Coincidence? I don't know. But you can call your friendly neighborhood priest at your friendly neighborhood Catholic church and they will come over to your house and rid it of demons. You can do this. You can get exorcisms and stuff like this done by your local priest, and they do it with there's a ceremony. There's all kinds of things that they do to do this. Believe it or not, it's true. It's not the kind of thing that your evangelical minister would do. This is something you would do through with a Catholic priest, and this witch hex. It's crazy that as it sounds. I could see them going to a Catholic church to try to get this witch's curse off of them.
Okay. That's a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes. And the people at Turning Point USA knew those things to be true. Okay. They knew everything that I just shared with you. They knew for a fact. So I was a bit astonished when Andrew Colvett and Alex Clark similarly jumped in this inauthentic attempt to dissuade the idea that Charlie was softening on Catholicism. It read to me like just sheer hatred of Catholics for no reason at all.
Well, okay. Now, okay, so I think that if he was becoming Catholic, that'd be great. They're very much into that. And then she came out with some text messages. Is it in this clip here? Let me see.
He's the one that actually messaged me and said, and said Catholicism is sounding better and better in February of 2024. This is kind of when we started having that discussion. We should chat soon. Catholicism is looking better and better. Okay. I then offered back to him a chart just showing how the phrase Judeo-Christianity kind of is really associated with the dawn of the nation of Israel, right? And we did chat about it. We talked about it a lot. And I was thrilled, like I said, and I was being honest that he was attending Mass. Okay. But I want to, again, state that Charlie was not attending Rob McCoy's church. He was attending Mass, so it registered to me, again, as somewhat disingenuous when Pastor Rob McCoy came out and effectively asked me to, stop looking into all of the things that had happened.
So I'm a little confused. Is she suggesting that the people at Turning Point somehow had some role in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? What is she getting to here?
Right, I'm going to jog your memory here. Here is what Pastor Rob McCoy wrote on his Instagram after I exposed the...
Okay, and it goes on. That old saying, I don't like to use it too much, but sometimes a banana is just a banana. And I know that seems trivializing what happened here. We all saw the assassination. It was not Israel. It was not Turning Point. It was forces inside the political establishment, like those that are in the news this morning that were spying on 12 sitting United States senators after the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, the people that shot President Trump, the over 10 years of lawfare and harassment that the Trump family have been going through, the people that are behind the attacks on ICE in Chicago, the people behind Antifa in Portland. These are the ones behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It was the assassination of Charlie Kirk was an attempt to stop him from not evangelizing, but politicizing these college campuses in a conservative way that was working and converting these college kids to MAGA. You know, I remember when he first was kind of nationally known and you'd watch him, he'd get a lot of hate at the college campuses. Now, he got hate on the last day, obviously, because they killed him. But as time went on, you saw a lot of kids wearing MAGA hats at the college campuses. President Trump performed better than any Republican since Eisenhower had done with the youth vote, right? And the entire college age group and high school age group were all getting magatized, red-pilled. And they took Charlie Kirk out to stop him from doing that, knowing his importance not just in the next midterm election, but mainly the next presidential election. The Democrats have lost key constituents, gays, blacks, Hispanics, the youth, and they want to win the White House back. And it'd be very difficult for them to do that without the youth vote that they've lost. That's why Charlie Kirk was killed. It's not Israel. It's not people inside Turning Point. It wasn't about financial problems at Turning Point. This is all just made up crap that this insane woman, Candace Owens, is continuing to promote. Right? You know, and if you look at the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it was set up in a very similar way as the Butler shooting of President Trump, on the roof, a loner idiot. You know, it's very similar types of assassination attempts. But, you know, there's so much anti-Semitism going on, sadly, in our country today, and a lot of it among young conservatives, which really is troubling. And they feed into that. This feeds into what they want to believe is true. If you're on hold, stand by. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Life Imaging FLA. You know, Life Imaging FLA, they have locations in Broward, Miami, and Palm Beach County. They can easily detect heart disease and even some cancers before you show any symptoms. And that heart scan and full body scan I had done just took a few short minutes. I didn't have to get undressed and put on a robe. I wore my regular clothes. I didn't even have to take off my watch. You know, and you find out you've got blockage, you find out you've got cancer early before you have any symptoms. Well, it can save your life. And they're saving lives every day. This is preventative health. You know, 1 out of 3 will die from heart disease. I thought I was going to be one of them. Now I know I'm not. In 30 to 40% of heart attacks, you know what the first symptom is? In 30 to 40% of heart attacks, do you know what the first symptom is? Death. That's right. So call Life Imaging FLA. I'm going to give you the number in just a moment. You're going to call them and get your free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements. And that's valued at $699. From your cell phone, just grab your cell phone right now, press pound 250. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. And I'm very excited that I am cancer-free and I have no plaque buildup in my arteries and I have no blockage. And I have been such a happy camper since then because I just was worried about that each and every day. So pick up your cell phone right now, pound 250, pound 250. You'll be connected in seconds. Get your heart scan. Get your full body scan. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm just queuing some things up for the next segment. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland. My name's Charlie.
Okay.
I didn't want to call in to debate. I just wanted to see if you would just want to have a conversation. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good. I've been watching you on YouTube. It's been interesting.
Mm-hmm. I would hope so.
How long have you been? Yeah. Kind of the point of the whole show, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Doing what? Talking about things about... actually, this will be 34 years.
There you go. That's awesome. It's great to hear you've been doing this for so long. Did you start out on radio?
We are on the radio now, as we speak, on a whole bunch of radio stations. Yes.
Crazy how everybody's gone so far. Everybody's on the internet now, YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah. Do you have any content? Or are you just lonely?
Oh, I'm just bored.
You're just bored.
I'm getting ready for work.
Oh, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living?
I work with a nonprofit that focuses on after-school care and family necessities. So
family necessities. Okay, so when you go to work today, you deal with family necessities, whatever that means. What will you be doing?
I am a mentor for children.
You're a mentor?
The family necessities.
You're a mentor?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do as a mentor?
A you're basically there to make sure that the kids are able to do their homework, that they're able to talk about stuff that's going on at home.
That's a
at
job,
school.
homework. You're like a homework helpline guy. That's a job. I mean, a mentor,
yeah,
to
it's
me,
a
a mentor is somebody to look up to.
Yeah.
Kids look up to you?
I mean, yeah.
Why would somebody look up to you?
I don't know.
Can't even think of something? I mean, if you can't think of a reason why someone should look up to you, maybe people shouldn't be looking up to you.
I mean, you could look at it that way, sure.
Wow. You're pretty weak. You're a weak mentor. Hey, appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. A mentor. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg. How you doing?
Hey, very well. Yourself?
I'm doing all right.
I'm glad
That
you
last call was great. Oh my goodness. The mentor. All right, Greg. What's on?
Listen,
what say you?
All right. Let's bring out two the topics you've been discussing. One, immigration. I'm all for legal, not illegal, legal immigration and enforcing our laws. But the same token, the thing I disagree so much is the messaging. I don't hear any compassion. Like, yeah, they're going to question kids. These kids are being traumatized. I don't hear, well, we're taking these steps to help them out. We're like not, we have ICE, officials with these body armor on questioning young kids. Don't you have any compassion for these kids and maybe a wife that can't even speak English and is just,
Well, actually, to become a Border Patrol ICE agent, you have to have Spanish-speaking abilities. You can't join the Border Patrol if you don't speak Spanish. It's one of the requirements.
I'm talking about when kids are.
Well, no. So when these ICE agents and Border Patrol agents, they speak English, or they speak Spanish and English, and they can speak to them in Spanish because they speak Spanish. You have to be Border Patrol.
But I don't hear any. Do you think these people are like licensed individuals to deal with traumatized kids? No, there's no buffer between, hey, everything's going to be all right.
What do you want them to do? You want them to go into these MS-13 places with social workers?
No, I want to hear in these detention centers that they're helping these people. And I want to hear your messaging. Your messaging is grab them, let's go.
Yeah,
guess
get out.
What? They could
the
be
messaging
slaves,
is get out.
No,
get out. That's the message. Get out.
Right, that's right. And there's no compassion.
Correct.
I don't even know how you call yourself a Catholic. You're shameful for being a Catholic. I don't hear anything like, well, truly, I believe that. And I believe a lot of these people that
as a Catholic, what other lawbreakers am I supposed to be sympathetic to?
How about a person that's in self-defense? How about a person that's been abused and reacts and doesn't get voluntary manslaughter? I mean, there's certain.
Well, that's not what's going on here. Well, the reason that this. I mean, come on, you're not stupid. Okay, the reason they separate the kids is to make sure that they're not sex slaves or labor slaves, that they're actually with their parents and they've not been kidnapped and are being abused. And to do that, they have to take them away from the adults that are claiming to be their parents. You know this. And if they find out
they're the video recently, did you see the video recently where there was a husband and a wife going to attend, they had their two kids going to attend a court hearing of some type, some magistrate hearing, and they took the husband away, they tackled the wife, the kids were cornered off. Did you happen to catch that video in all your wealth of knowledge?
Well, sometimes, don't do crime.
Did you
can't
see
do
that?
the time.
Did you see that?
No, I did not see the video.
That's one you didn't see it. Well, check it out. It was.
I don't need to see it. If you go to America's prisons, they're filled with dads. So what do you mean, husbands and fathers? We're allowed to go out and commit crime because we've got wives and kids? What does that mean?
No, your apples and oranges there. Your apples and oranges. And you know what? Here's a quick question. For example, let's say I know you're like, you're so clean, you're this. If you encountered a person, let's say there's a cleaning lady, and you be honest, Brian, please be forthright. If there's a cleaning lady that does your studio in your building and you knew she happened to be illegal, are you dropping a dime on her?
Why would you assume?
She's working hard.
Why would you assume that we have illegal workers cleaning the studio at the radio station?
I'm giving you a hypothetical. I didn't assume.
Well,
anything.
I don't talk about hypotheticals. I talk about the real world.
No.
I am not aware of any illegals anywhere.
Check your lawn crew.
No, my lawn guy's an American. He's an American.
Trust me, most of them hire.
Well, not mine.
Well, guess what?
In fact, my guy not only
illegals.
He doesn't. No, he is an American. He hires Americans, and he does. When I first hired this guy, because my other lawn guy ghosted me. He was an American too, and I got a quote from him. He says, "Well, I charge a little bit more than the other guys because I only hire Americans. I do everything above board, as opposed to all these crews of illegals around." And and he's been my lawn guy for years. No, I have an American who. Why you have an illegal guy mows your lawn? Are you confessing?
I don't know.
Are you confessing to something?
No, I do not. I do not know the bat. Listen.
Well, no. Why do you assume that people that clean or people that I use to mow my lawn are illegals? I can only assume that you think that's just normal.
No, I'm not assuming because I encountered them personally. Okay.
Oh, so you have illegals clean your home and mow your lawn?
No, I didn't. Who said my home? I'm saying, let's say you're in an office setting. There's a nice Hispanic lady, for example. I talk to her. I ask her reviews. Do you like Trump? She smiles.
So you racially stereotype. If someone's a Hispanic doing
What I'm
doing
asking,
house cleaning or lawn work, you assume they're illegal? You sound like a bigot.
So you're saying give me a break. You're the one with the mental health issues, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask this question too. You have this deep state. If you're going to hire someone to kill the top two MAGA people in the world, in the United States, our leaders, are you going to hire a guy that's dating a tranny with no military background? That is a nut job.
Yeah.
Is that going to be who you're going to hire and do? Tell me why. Enlighten me.
He was successful, sadly, wasn't he? Yeah, exactly. So whoever put that patsy up, they accomplished their mission. Sadly, I wish they wouldn't have. If you're on hold, stand by. What was he saying there? Why does he assume that cleaning people and lawn maintenance crews are all illegal? And any Hispanic person he sees doing a job that doesn't require a college education, he assumes they're illegal. That sounds like bigotry to me, but hey, that's just me. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig, Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I got to get organized here for the next segment. I missed something I had to do. Okay. All right. I'll take a call here during that. We've got time. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Am I coming in okay?
Yeah.
Greg is racist. He just unveiled himself.
Yeah, he did.
Not only that he tried to fool you because through you talking about your lawn guy for so many years, especially when your lawn guy came to you and said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to vote for Trump.
Yep.
And after all of those years of not liking Trump, your lawn man turned around, a black man who you've been talking about for years. So Greg already knew that he's such a liar.
Yeah.
He's such a liar.
Yeah.
That's what some lawyers do. They're good at lying. And you are shameful.
Well, really?
You're
Do you,
such a
you
shameful,
think
Greg.
you think Greg's
Person.
good? You think Greg's good at that? He didn't sound good to me.
Yeah, I was surprised what he said, and he's also the guy that won't let anyone in his house who are getting deported or what have you unless they get vetted. Oh, they got to come vetted to the house, but not to be vetted to come into the country.
Yeah.
And just like Steve, never Trump a Steve, and he lives in the gay community. We don't want you guys around us, but it's okay for everybody else, but not for me. Such a hypocrite.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but here in South Florida, I've noticed there's a lot fewer lawn crews. I don't see all those. Boy, what a bad sound in the background we have. I'm gonna have to let you go, IB, because the sound's too bad. But I have noticed in Trump's second term, I'm not seeing all these lawn crews going around the neighborhood with Hispanics in them that you assume are illegal. And prior to Trump's return and winning the election last year, you were tripping over lawn crews. And I noticed the people that, nobody in my neighborhood really, very few people mow their own lawns. Everybody has a lawn guy. And most all of them that I see are not Hispanic. Do you guys notice that too in Florida? That most of the lawn crews are not Hispanic that you're seeing? Yeah. And it was like, boom, just like that. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to be back shortly in about 30 seconds. Yeah. It's like the freeways with no traffic in LA now. If you're on hold, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. With Greg, about the lawn crew, my guy's an American. He's been my lawn guy for years, and he was a big never-Trumper. I remember right before the 2020 election, I had a Trump 2020 flag hanging off of my garage, and he'd been mowing my lawn for years. He freaked out at me, really kind of ripped me. About supporting Trump. And he gave me this whole, I couldn't believe it. And I kept him on, and I'm glad I did. He's a big Trump guy now. Last time he was at the house, we were talking about the Pete Hegseth speech. He's been totally red-pilled. Not by my doing, just, I guess, living life. But I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this in South Florida, I'm not seeing all these Hispanic lawn crews anymore. Pretty much everyone in my neighborhood, almost everyone, has a lawn guy that mows their lawn, takes care of their stuff. And they're mostly all white guys. My guy's black, but they're mostly all white guys, and I'm not seeing these Hispanic lawn crews anymore that don't speak English. Have you guys noticed that? I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. What Jupiter Joe Thomas is offering is absolutely amazing with annuities. We talk a lot about annuities, how your money's not at risk, your nest egg's always safe. You're not going to run out of money forever, right? You're going to have that money for the rest of your life, and you're going to generate revenue. You get that income stream every month for the rest of your life, too. You know what an annuity is? It's really like giving yourself a pension, is how I look at it. Your money's not at risk, and you have a guaranteed income stream. That's amazing. So you're not going to, and, a lot of people, because people are living longer now, a lot of people that are retired, they outlive their money. Not if you have an annuity. You will not outlive your money, and you'll have a guaranteed income stream for life. Give Joe Thomas a call. Turn your money into guaranteed income for life. Ask him about that 10% bonus on your money on day one. There's all kinds of different types of annuities for different types of things and people and goals. But one of the annuities gives you a 10% bonus on your money. You make 10% off your money before you leave Joe Thomas's office. It's a free consultation. Give him a call no matter where you're located. You can take that free consultation in person or over the phone. He'll put together a custom proposal just for you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Dr. Ron from Delray Beach.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
You were asking yesterday about police that don't respond to police.
Yes.
That happened in New York City to Frank Serpico. He took a bullet in the face.
Well, yeah, it didn't turn out good for Serpico. And what year was that?
Yeah.
Was that in the 60s or 70s?
That was in the late 60s, I believe.
It hasn't happened for almost 60 years that you know of. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other people, Chicago and Portland, police, judges, mayors, governors, judges, they all take oaths of offices. Their oath of office is promising to abide by the Constitution. A violation of that, they can be removed from office. And there's ethics boards. It's time we started going after these people.
Well, the chief of patrol that ordered the not respond order, the stand down order, he needs to be hauled in by the feds and investigated, and his finances too. That was crazy. And they're making this argument. They're trying to make this argument in Chicago that they've got this law. They're not allowed to interfere in deportation. This wasn't a deportation op. This was an attempted assassination and a gun battle in the streets of Chicago. The Chicago police are obliged. They are obligated to respond to a gun battle in the city streets.
Yeah, Trump said that he has on his desk martial law.
The Insurrection Act.
Maybe a little directed force would be very well taken by the people of.
He's talking about signing the Insurrection Act, and I got to tell you, it's appropriate.
Yeah,
it's the right thing to do.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
scary.
Yeah, I mean, he's all for Americans and not these people who have invaded.
Or corrupt public officials. I mean, I find it hard to believe that these local officials in Illinois are not on the take to the cartels and these gangs. They're bending over backwards to help them. Well, they're bending over backwards to help them.
Yeah, it borders on treason.
It is treason. They're in open rebellion. This is an insurrection going on in Illinois.
Yeah, well, I love listening to your program. It's a great laugh in the morning. These lefties, if they can't make their point, go after you or somebody else.
Yeah, let them keep trying. All right, take care. Good to hear from you. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. I can hear you breathing. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to get back to this story with Jack Smith and the spying on the 12 Republican senators. This is a big deal, and the spy operation began after the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. So they broke into Mar-a-Lago, they found nothing, so they started this spy operation. This is in the Daily Mail. Jack Smith's investigation into Donald Trump resulted in the FBI spying on, now they're saying half a dozen Republicans. Was it a dozen or half a dozen? Let me look. Hold on, because there was another story about this. Hold on, let me see. It doesn't matter if it was 6 or 12. It says Fox News is reporting nearly a dozen. Okay, so they're saying a half a dozen in the Daily Mail, but they're saying nearly a dozen on Fox. It doesn't matter if it was just one. A bombshell document released by Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, by the way, yesterday shows that lawmakers were being investigated during Jack Smith's probe into the January 6th Capitol riot. See, the January 6th is the excuse they used to get the warrants to spy on these sitting United States senators. Remember, this spy operation, Marsha Blackburn talked about this yesterday in a press conference. The spying began after the Mar-a-Lago break-in. This had nothing to do with January 6th. January 6th was just the excuse to get the warrants. Senator Lindsey Graham, Haggerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Loomis, and Marsha Blackburn were probed. Republicans all, according to an FBI document published by Grassley. Congressman Mike Kelly, Republican from Pennsylvania, was also investigated, the document shows. Excuse me. The one-page file was created in the wake of Smith's Arctic Frost investigation, which probed the J6 riot. Okay, now, again, J6 just a cover. It is titled CAST Assistance, C-A-S-T, which refers to the FBI's Cellular Analysis Survey Team. The file was dated September 27, 2023, indicating the investigation into the Republican cellular data lasted well into Biden's auto-pen term. The case ID on the document reads, Arctic Frost, Election Law Matters, Sensitive Investigative Matters, CAST. Dan Bongino briefed the impacted lawmakers on the scope of the probe on Monday. It's a disgrace that I have to stand here on Capitol Hill and reveal this, Bongino said. A source familiar with the probe told Fox that Kash Patel and Bongino felt it was pertinent to inform the lawmakers as soon as possible following the discovery of the document. One official told the outlet cellular records were provided to Jack Smith after his team subpoenaed telephone providers for information on the lawmakers. The one-pager shows that an unnamed FBI agent whose name has been redacted conducted preliminary toll analysis of the lawmakers. So I'd like to know if Bongino and Kash Patel know who the agent is. Toll records are kept for telecommunications in the U.S. and are subject to subpoena in certain cases. So what they were doing is they weren't just listening in on their calls. They were getting their text messages. They were getting information to let them know who called who and where both parties were located during the calls. And who knows how far it went? Did they start listening in and monitoring the people they were talking to? And a big assumption is made that they found nothing because we've heard nothing. They could have found some dirt on one of these guys that they're using to blackmail them with. And it doesn't mean they were doing something bad. It could be a family member that they got on something. These are some bad, dirty people. Okay? And it really shows you the lengths that the Democrats, the never-Trumpers were going to. So they broke into Mar-a-Lago, found nothing. They started this operation. We don't know what came out of it. It doesn't look like they found anything, but they may have found some blackmail material, and then they shot the president. So do you believe that this is related to the assassination attempts on the president? I happen to believe so. I think it's all one big thing. It's all part of the same big plot. All right. Let me talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser-away pain treatment. You know, you've heard me talk. I mean, it's been over 3 years since Dr. Appleton rid me of pain the first time. He's rid me of pain 7 times, and none of the pains, including that first time he treated me for my knee pain that I suffered from for about 30 years of suffering, none of the pain has returned because the robotic laser of Dr. Appleton's repairs the damage that has caused the pain. That's amazing. It repairs the damage that causes the pain, right? No drugs, no shots, no surgery, no downtime. Not only is the robotic laser treatment completely painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments himself, and the best part is it works. You know, I've met so many listeners over the years that Dr. Appleton has been with us that, like me, are living a pain-free life. You know, the consultation with Dr. Appleton is completely free. So go in and see him. Talk to him about his robotic laser. It works. I'm a living, breathing example. And I hate to think about what my life would be like if I was living with all those pains. It'd be pretty miserable. And I'm living a pain-free life thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser-away pain treatment. And you can say bye-bye to your pain, too. Take advantage of that no-charge free consultation. And remember, walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are never necessary, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Yeah, socket. Yeah, okay. Show me. This is my daughter's phone. Okay. He's very talkative. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. Back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dean from Mega Martin County.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, good morning. Hey, it sounds like Trump's going to bring the heavy hammer down on a bunch of like Jack Smith guys, and Letitia James is going to fall. I think Adam Schiff is going to get hammered in the next 30 to 60 days. We're going to see a lot of fun coming from the Trump MAGA party.
Well, let's hope. I mean, let's really hope. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I know Comey is supposed to surrender tomorrow. He's going to get arraigned tomorrow. They're reporting.
Why don't they just arrest him?
Exactly.
Just arrest him.
Well, that's the problem.
I mean, I want to see him in handcuffs.
Yeah, and I want to see a purple. I mean, it was good enough for Roger Stone, wasn't it? And Steve Bannon.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Jordan and Comer are just the biggest fools in Congress I've ever seen.
Well,
they're just all bark, no bite.
This is all up to Pam Bondi. She's the Attorney General.
Yeah, you're right, but I kind of got ticked about all the years that Comer we're investigating Biden, blah, blah, blah. I'm so, just do something.
I'm tired of Comer. I mean, Comer, remember he had the bank accounts from Cyprus with the $10 million deposits for Biden, and he tells you what you want to hear, and then nothing ever happens. Comer's useless.
It's too close to the election. He said, it's too close to the election to do anything now. Like,
yeah, there's one every 2 years. No, he's full of it. He always talks, and he never comes through with anything.
Well, I mean, Trump, he said about Charlie Kirk, he goes, you know what, I forgive. Charlie Kirk goes, I forgive. Trump goes, I don't. I hate my enemies.
Yeah, and
love it.
and they act like there's something wrong with that. J.D. Vance said 2 weeks ago, there's no unity with these people, and there's not. Look what they're doing. They're justifying violence against these federal agents in Chicago. And
I want to see that fat scumbag Pritzker and Brendan Marshall get hammered by Trump too.
Well, Trump said yesterday, I heard him say it, that he's considering enacting the Insurrection Act in Chicago.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Good to hear from you from MAGA, Martin County. All right. Take care. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay. What's up?
Can you handle what I'm getting ready to say, or you think you need to hang up because you don't like the fact that I'm telling the truth?
I'm not a psychic, so I don't know what you're going to say.
Okay, let me just bring up something that you seem to be totally not a clue of. I've lived a long time. I'm around your age. And I have never lived through a lifetime of so much controversy and meanness, and all this racism done came back.
Really?
And it's all,
You don't remember the LA riots when they remember when they beat up when they beat up They beat up Reginald Denny?
I wasn't in LA.
You saw it. You forgot about that, didn't you? Okay, go ahead.
But guess what? Around the whole United States, the racism is horrible. White people and black people and different people are not getting along anymore. And it all started behind you and your MAGA's people.
Mm-hmm.
The United States has turned into a big racial fight. You don't notice it?
Well, the best. Okay, I'll tell you what. No, give me the story of the last time you were discriminated against by a white person because you're black.
Oh my God! I gotta go into that.
Yeah, the most recent time.
Have to do with what?
Well, you say you're seeing all this white on black racism is happening. Tell us the last time you encountered it.
It's all around.
Then it must. Well, when's the last time it happened to you?
The last. Are you gonna listen?
Yeah.
Or you gonna cut me off? You really want to?
You're buying time to make something up.
Pulled up to a store. Dropped my wife off. She's gonna go inside and get the milk. I sat there for a second because I looked at something on my phone. Some white man walks past and decides, look at this idiot sitting here. Oh, I'm thinking, who the heck you talking to?
Okay, that's an interesting story, but I was asking for the example of racial discrimination. Not you blocking traffic in a parking lot. No.
It turned racial.
No. That's not racial. That's you blocking traffic.
Okay, but why don't you go with what I'm talking about?
Well, because you haven't experienced any racism that you can think of.
I didn't say every time I've experienced. I said the whole United States.
Well, if it's on such a rise, you must experience it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You watch a lot of your things to find your news and stuff, right? You don't see all of them white people getting their mouth knocked in for calling people the N-word all over the place.
No, white people don't go around. No, white people don't go around calling people the N-word.
Oh, then you need to check the internet because there's a lot of videos of white people getting their behind kicked.
First of all, not that I endorse using the N-word because I don't, but somebody using it does not justify violence being committed against them.
Can I say this before you hang up on me?
That's called sticks and stones.
If someone calls me the N-word, I'm going to take their teeth out.
Well, that would be a felony. That's felony assault. That's felony assault.
What?
But I want to get back to this. I asked you. You say that there's this rise in racism, and you can't think of an example of it happening to you. You talked about how you block traffic. You were blocking traffic. You were blocking traffic. You were blocking traffic in a parking lot. Instead of parking, yeah, and then you said it, and then you got into a fight, and something was said.
Park there for a second, I'm going to.
Well, that's illegal. That's illegal.
That white man don't tell me where to park.
Oh, so now we're hearing the racism. So okay. Now we got black on white racism.
He doesn't tell me where to park.
Ah.
I'm grown. Mm-hmm. I'm grown.
Okay.
He doesn't tell me where to park.
All right, appreciate that. Appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. If you're on hold, Steve, I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. I forgot to put a belt on today, and I've been holding my pants up. And I got to tell you, I put on I shouldn't. I'm revealing a lot. TMI. I'm wearing some underwear today that is too big, and it's falling off of me underneath my jeans. Everything I'm wearing is too big because I've lost so much weight. And this is a pre-weight loss pair of underwear, and it's falling off of my body. In fact, when I get off the air, I'm going to change pants and underwear. You know, it's so exciting to have lost so much weight. I was cleaning out my closet and my drawers over the weekend, and there's just some things, they just don't fit me anymore, and they're never going to fit me again. So I've been throwing stuff away. And I missed the underwear that I'm wearing that is way too big. It's not doing its job. But it's awesome to lose weight because and I don't mind wearing the clothes that are too big from time to time because it reminds me of how much weight I've lost. I've literally lost inches off my waist, multiple inches off my waist. I wish I would have measured before. I've added so many holes to my belt. I bought new belts. It just feels great. I look great. I feel great. I have a flat stomach now. I was getting a belly. It is gone. And my results with Coastal Weight Loss Secret are typical. Give them a call and schedule your free consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. My name is Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get back to the calls after the break. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're tuned in from, 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. There's some more topics to cover that I haven't touched on yet. And we'll also get back to your phone calls. Back after this. Oh, my goodness. All right, we're coming back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Hour number 3 has begun. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. Okay. I was just looking at the Drudge Report, and they have this story out there that flight delays are starting to happen, that air traffic controllers are walking off the job because they're not getting paid. Do you believe that? What I mean is, do you believe that these air traffic controllers are walking off of the job because they're not getting paid? I don't think so. I don't think so. And they're turning over LAX to Burbank. Burbank's a crap airport, by the way. Small airport, tiny airport. Isn't that John Wayne? It's a lot of times they film, like if they're filming something that takes place in the 60s or 70s, they film it at Burbank because it's such an old airport. But are these air traffic controllers not showing up to work because they're not getting paid? Or are they trying to make people feel the pain of the shutdown? See, this is what the Democrats have done in the past. Remember Rush Limbaugh? I know I quote Rush Limbaugh a lot because he was so smart and had so many, rules of thumb that are so true. And one of the big things he always said, Rush, was the Democrats have the same old tired playbook. They run the same plays every time. And this is one of them. Okay. Oh, I just got a text message from Al Knight. Does weekends here on True Oldies. He was talking about my underwear that's falling off because I lost all this weight thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. He says maybe the next time I do a personal appearance, I should wear underwear outside of my pants. And that's not a bad idea. I texted him back. I said, yeah, would you guys come out to see that if I wore my underwear on the outside of my pants? Oh, my goodness. I can't wait to get this big underwear off and put on the new underwear that's the smaller size on. Anyway, back to this. Okay, there was a big government shutdown. I can't remember how long it went on. I'm sure somebody knows because they've been talking about him so much in the news. There was a government shutdown when Obama was president that went on a little bit longer than they wanted. And people started noticing that people weren't feeling the pain. Remember this? So Obama started shutting things down. He shut down a public road that drove by Mount Rushmore, as an example. Right? So people couldn't drive down the road and see it. But they had to have the park rangers do it, the park police. It was so bizarre. So I don't buy that these air traffic controllers aren't going to work because they're not getting paid. I think they're not going to work so they can cause chaos and try to get the Democrats are trying to get the Republicans to cave to the minority party and agree to their budget conditions and give the illegals their health care, and then they'll vote for the budget. I think that's what's going on here. Federal workers that don't get paid or get partial pay during a shutdown, they get their full back pay when the government reopens, okay? Now, I know it sucks, and people need to get paid. I understand that. But what kind of air traffic controllers do we have? And I hope that they do this and that President Trump can follow Reagan's model and fire them. We have plenty of air traffic controllers in the military, and they can take over. Air Force, Navy, maybe, Marine, all that. They've got air traffic controllers, and send them to LAX and fire them and get rid of these social justice warriors. If these guys that are air traffic controllers in LA are political activists and they're actually putting things people in danger, that is one busy airport, I'm here to tell you. You know this. It's a very busy airport. And they have Burbank Tower is unmanned, Drudge is reporting. So they're transferring these to other towers. So if they transfer air traffic control to another tower at another airport, they don't have a view of the runway. They don't know what the conditions are visually at that airport. I remember many years ago, I'm pretty sure they corrected this. They had some issues. I believe it was the Miami airport. The air traffic controllers couldn't see outside? It could be pouring down rain and they wouldn't know it unless the weather report told them. You need to have a visual on the runway in the tower. These are stage walkouts to make people feel the pain. No doubt in my mind. And the reason you're seeing it like in California is because the Democrats control California. Obama was able to shut some things down that were federal because the Democrats were in charge. Now they've only got local and state governments where they can do this. It really shows you not only are the Democrats killing people, trying to kill federal agents in Chicago, trying to injure and maybe kill federal agents in Oregon, they're putting civilians at risk with these air traffic controller unmanned towers. that Democrats will do whatever it is they got to do to have power. And what we're dealing with the left is a number of things. But one of them is the Democrats have never had Republicans stand up to them. They really haven't, except for Trump. And unlike Trump's first term, we've got these MAGA Republicans in the Congress. And what President Trump has done is pretty masterful with this government shutdown. You don't see him talking about it too much. He's been doing a lot of press. He had a little press conference yesterday, and he does take questions, and he does answer questions about the shutdown if he's asked. But he's not out there talking about it too much. And the Democrats are talking about it. And the more they talk about it, the more that the public becomes aware that they are the ones responsible for it. And because Trump's not out there taking the lead about the government shutdown, the truth is being put out there about the Democrats being behind it and the things that they are doing. Now, there's another story. This is getting more ground. Okay. House of Judge criticized by Trump administration set ablaze. That judge had a pretty big house on the water there. Holy smokes. How'd she afford that house? How much do they pay judges? And, okay, now, we don't know what happened with the fire of the judge's house. We know very little information. There's some ruling where she ruled against the Trump administration. I don't know. A lot of judges have ruled against Trump, okay? But we do know this. The lady judge was walking on the beach or something down the street while her husband and entire family were inside the house. She was walking alone. And I watch a lot of true crime. I love true crime. I do. I really do enjoy true crime. I got the ID app just to watch true crime. And I like the ones where you see the interrogations or you see the body cam of them questioning a suspect. And do you know what guilty people do more than anything else? This is not some big secret. When a guilty person is being questioned by detectives, whether they're in an interrogation room or at their front door, what do guilty people love to do when they're being questioned by cops? Do you know what they love to do more? You know what the most common thing they do? What is? I'm not going to troll for calls on this. Okay, I'm going to tell you in a minute. But think about this: when a guilty person who's not been arrested is being questioned about detectives for a crime, whether it's their front door, they're at work, or they're in an interrogation room, they've not been arrested, what do they do more than anything else? The answer is not lie. What do? They want to give another suspect to the investigators. OJ with the Colombian necktie. Guilty people, it's almost 100% when I watch these true crime shows with the interrogations. They always want to give the detectives another suspect to turn attention away from them. Almost every time. I'd say probably 98, 99% of the interrogations that I watch. And I'm sure a lot of you know that's true. It's deflection. Point the finger to someone else. And this judge's house fire, there was too much immediate blaming of MAGA. In fact, the blame of MAGA is so intense, it's suspicious. You guys agree with that? Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about the Sloman Shield link. This is really an amazing, amazing thing. Imagine this. You're at home, and all your smart devices work together seamlessly. That's what you can do with the Sloman Shield link. With the Sloman Shield link, you could transform your entire home into an intelligent smart home. You're literally living in the home of the future is what you're doing with the Sloman Shield link. You could control your lights, your air conditioning, your door locks, your security cameras, your televisions, your computers, just about anything in your home can be controlled with the Sloman's Shield link. Give them a call. We all have these cool gadgets. Have them all connected to the Sloman Shield link. Get everything connected. Everything's working on one thing. It connects to your Sloman Shield. It's absolutely amazing. You literally are living in the future. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 5050. That's 833-283-5050. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey there, we got about a little less than a minute. Great, hold on. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Great. What do you have for us this morning?
You know, this morning I was going to talk about something I haven't talked in a long time about on your show, about the planning issues that come up with blended families.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, what's the most famous blended family I could think of that at least most of the listeners would know about? And I would think it would be our friends that were on the Brady Bunch, Mike and Carol Brady, and their handsome sons and their lovely daughters with locks of hair, whatever it was. But think about it. Let's suppose in that case, the husband Mike. Let's say he even inherited the house and he was living there with his three sons before he met Carol and got married. And then he gets married, doesn't do any planning, doesn't consult with an attorney, and the next thing you know, he passes away. Well, he may have thought that that the home was going to go to his three sons, but because of marriage, it's going to go to the wife. And that may not have been what his plan was. So when you have blended families, you have special issues. You need to make sure that things are planned out, make the decisions how you want things to go, and then the planning can be done. And that planning not only could include setting up revocable living trusts. They may need to have separate individual trusts where they each have their own trust with their own choices for trustees and how they want things to go. And even in that case, a prenuptial agreement. Now, of course, if I recall, in that case, they're in California, which has some different laws than Florida. So I'm not going to try to display any expertise on California law, but there's a lot of the same issues that come up.
Let me ask you, Barry. That's a big thing because what I've learned as you and I are about the same age. as you get older, we start to know more and more people that are retirement age and things like this. And there's a whole group of people that are looking to get somebody's inheritance, you know what I mean, marry, so that they'll have their Social Security or their high. There's a whole thing of that. So what do you do? You know, would you be able to help somebody or recommend they get a prenup so before they get married, they take it? Once they're married, it might be a little difficult for them sometimes to get them to go along with the new trust.
Yeah. So along those lines, I mean, there's certainly people out there who are getting married, whether it's for a first or second or third time, where there's an imbalance in the value of the size of their estates and their assets. And so, some people, it doesn't matter to them, and that's fine. Other people, because, you never know, the divorce rates are very high, and, even though everything's great at the beginning and, you think you're going to be together forever, and then stuff happens, and you don't want to end up losing half of everything just because you made a decision to marry somebody without protecting yourself. So typically the first recommendation would be to do a prenuptial agreement. And there is actually something called a postnuptial agreement, but I joke around that none of those have ever been signed in the history of mankind.
No, that's very difficult.
Why would somebody sign one when they already have the rights and already it's too late? So I'm sure I'm sure it does get done, but typically it's the prenuptial agreement that would get done if you're trying to make sure that the assets are protected.
Can you help people with that?
I can help people. I don't do that in my office, but we have some family law attorneys that we can recommend.
Oh, great.
For those who are looking to have that done.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. A lot of things become community marital property real quick. Somebody gets married and they say, oh, let's buy a new house. And then their old house is sold. The new house is now marital property. So it messes. There's a lot of things to consider with these remarriages.
Yeah, and there are things, people don't realize that when you get married, certain things like your homestead property become part of that marital estate, and if you die without any kind of prenup, then your spouse is going to be entitled to what's called a marital share, which essentially is the homestead plus 30%. So you really can't disinherit your spouse.
Wait a minute.
Unless you do
this is this is why I got to call the Siegel Law Group. This is the last question, Barry, because this is so you're a widow or you're divorced. You have your house or your condo. You get married. They move into your homesteaded property. They've got, even though you bought that house and you weren't married, they have claim to it.
Yeah, if it's a homestead property and you're married, yeah. So unless you do proper planning in advance, you need to do the proper planning in advance.
I never heard that before.
Depending on what your wishes are. So you got to be clear what your wishes are, and then you can plan to make sure that that's what happens.
Wow. See, guys, it's there's so many. Barry, many times as we've talked all these years, there's always something new. I'm learning. That's new stuff. All these times we talk. Listen, call the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program, you can schedule that no-charge in-office consultation. And the number, you can see how detailed what Attorney Barry Siegel does can be. 855-FLA-3782 was the number. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. And that's Siegel spelled S-I-E-G-E-L, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, take care. I had no idea about that. It's good. You learn stuff every day on this program. So I was just looking, okay, this thing with the judge, okay? Listen to this story, okay? This is on the Drudge Report. Judge speaks out after her $1.5 million mansion exploded after she defied Trump order. So you notice how whatever happened to this house, it's being blamed on MAGA. I'm interested how a judge can afford a $1.5 million home. I don't know. A judge whose $1.5 million beach house. So this isn't the primary residence. A judge whose $1.5 million beach house burned down after a suspected arson explosion has spoken to the Daily Mail in the wake of the inferno. Judge Diane Goodstein, age 69, said, "I'm all right," when contacted Monday morning, 2 days after her property in South Carolina was consumed by flames. Goodstein sounded cheerful over the phone and said she'd be happy to direct you to a court administrator to answer further questions about the fire. The judge was out walking on the beach when the suspected arson attack happened, just weeks after she had issued a decisive ruling against Trump. Her former Democrat state senator husband jumped from a first-floor window to escape the blaze and suffered multiple broken bones. 2 others were already also hospitalized. Authorities are now working to determine what may have caused the 4-bedroom, 4-bath home to go up in smoke. Several reports said the circuit court judge had received death threats over the past few weeks following her decision to prevent the state from handing over sensitive documents to the feds. It goes into that. They have a picture of her in the news that's like 30 years old. The decision put Goldstein at odds with both the Trump administration and South Carolina GOP's governor, McMaster, who filed an emergency petition to appeal the lawsuit. There's no suggestion of any MAGA link to the fire, but Democrat Congressman Daniel Goldman took to X to slam Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller. And it goes on about that. No, everyone is reporting. In fact, even MSNBC is implying that this was a MAGA fire. If this was arson, who would your first suspect be? MAGA or the judge? Right? The husband had to jump out of the window. She's walking on the beach when the arson happened. I don't know. I'm not saying she did it, but my first suspect isn't MAGA. My first suspect is the person that was not in the house, whose husband had to jump out of the window and broke his bones. That would be my first suspect. Wouldn't it be yours? If it was arson. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie.
How you doing this morning?
All right.
I want to address Greg because of your lack of compassion that you have, Brian, and Greg has all this compassion. You know what? And I admit that President Trump isn't as nice to people that are here illegally as President Biden. It's equivalent to somebody saying, okay, Biden would be doing this. I'll give you a 3-year pass before you have to see a judge to see whether you're worthy or not. A 3-year pass into the Magic Kingdom,
Disney World.
We don't care if you're a murderer, a racist. You're here with all those children. We're just going to open up our Magic Kingdom. We're not even going to charge you. We're just going to give you free food. We're going to do everything for you. And then at the end of the day, maybe you're a murderer or a rapist, and you're mingling with the children, and you're terrorizing everyone in the Magic Kingdom. But then we'll send you back because we have compassion. And by the way, President Trump offered everybody, that cleaning lady in Greg's little office, $1,000 on an airplane back to her country and priority to come back into the United States if she does it legally.
Yeah.
And so this is all crapola. Let me tell you something. People that came here, and I know because when I worked as a bus driver, my wife is from Venezuela. She knew quite a few people that used to work in the middle of Sawgrass Mall in those kiosks because they didn't have papers. And they were exploited. Some of them had to ask another, can you help me? I got to go to the bathroom. I can't leave this place. They were treated badly.
Basically,
but they were here,
it's a new form of slavery, is what it is.
Yes. And they literally knew what they were doing when they came here. They knew that chances are that if they were caught, they would be sent back. So there's no time limit on this. It's like murder. You come here illegally, there's no time limit. And I know most of the people that are here illegally are decent people. But for God's sake, they got offered that money and they have to go back.
Listen, we know all this stuff, but here's the reality, and you're right. Everything you said is true. What the Democrats are fighting for is to keep their slaves again. You heard Greg. The cleaning lady. Our radio station is typically, I see it cleaned by the owner or his family. Typically, I clean up the studio when I come in. Sometimes, we don't have some illegal lady. He talks about the lawn crews. Certainly the guy that mows your lawns. You hear these leftists. It's not the same kind of slavery we had in the 1800s, but it's a new modern slavery, and it's exactly what it is.
If they have enough money, they can come into the house and cook for them too. And tuck them in at night.
Like Meathead Carl Reiner was on TV last night talking about the illegals.
I saw that.
He made a lot of movies. There weren't any illegals working on his movies. They were all card-carrying union members. They don't care because the illegals aren't taking their jobs and they're their slaves. They work for very, very low wages. It's sad. And, like I saw today, there was a whole bunch of arrests of illegal truck drivers. Every time they arrest, these are new jobs are being created. And, like you talk about the lawn crews, I can remember years ago, I knew guys that had lawn crews and they made good livings. And then we had the wave of illegals and it became an illegal business. And there weren't too many, there's not that many lawn crews around, not just because the illegals have gone away, but legal Americans have stopped going into that line of work, I used to get knocks at the door every day from a lawn crew, and there's hardly any in my neighborhood anymore.
Real quick, Jay insulted MAGA and insulted me. He is such an ignorant, Negro. Because if I said
why do you got to say that? Why do you got to use that word? Why do you got to say that?
Because he used that. He said the N-word. If somebody said it, he'd punch him in the face, and he accused MAGA of being racist. It started under Obama, my friend. It didn't start.
And his story was so bogus. So he drops his wife off at the store, and he stays parked along the curb at the sidewalk. Let me tell you, when somebody does that pisses off everybody. You're blocking everybody's got to drive around you. It's a narrow little area, and he creates that frustration into a racial incident.
Well, it's the hostility. Even with the police officer pulling somebody over, they get that backup right away instead of cooperating.
Yeah,
it's like automatically in their mind, I'm a victim and they're treating me bad because of the color of my
skin.
Well,
I think he made up the whole story. Okay, I asked him, and I think the whole story was. Then he says, "Well, but then it turned right." The whole thing was a made up story.
Listen, racism is a made up story in this country in 2025. That's the bottom line. Everyone's equal. And if they don't see it, that's their problem. I'm sorry.
No. All right, Richie, morning. Take care. Take care. All right. Oh, we're late for the break. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Now, if you're 65 years of age or older, it is Medicare open enrollment period. You want to give Chapter a call. They cover all 50 states. No matter where you're located, Chapter can help you with your Medicare. All right? They'll review your policy and make sure that you have all the benefits that you're entitled to, and they'll make sure you're not paying too much. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year. Pretty amazing, huh? That's right. They cover all 50 states, and they have access to all the over 24,000 Medicare policies. So they'll make sure you have the right policy, and it's all free. They're going to help you completely for free. They're going to make sure that your doctors and prescriptions are covered next year. A lot of insurance companies are pulling out of Medicare this year. Okay, find out now. Give Chapter a call, 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the video. 805-754-3033. All right? The help is always free.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute, guys. I'm looking for a soundbite I wanted to play. Here it is. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to go through some of the sound bites I have that I haven't gotten to yet because there's some important things that I want to touch on. Now, this one, you know, this violent incident that happened in Chicago is continuing to develop. They've identified the chief of patrol that ordered the units to stand down from those ICE agents that were under attack. And then here's the mayor of Chicago yesterday.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Now, you know, this is something else. Now, the president has said, and I'm going to play it in a minute, that he's considering invoking the Insurrection Act. I mean, I'm of the opinion, it's not just that they're in open rebellion. I don't believe there's a functioning government in Chicago. And at the state level, there's problems too. But certainly in Chicago, there's not a functioning government, right? You have one of their chiefs of their police department, and you have the mayor of Chicago going out of their way, giving orders and signing orders, because this was an executive order signed by the mayor, to help the violent Trend A and MS-13ers. That's exactly what they're doing. And what they're so you got to wonder, are they on the take? I don't know that they are or not, but they certainly are rushing pretty quick to run cover for these bad guys that got involved in this really a terrorist attack that was organized with military precision that I was talking about on the show yesterday. They're running cover for them, and everything that they're doing, the mayor and the police superintendent, everything they're doing is to try to get this narrative going that the criminals are ICE. So now they have these ICE-free zones, which you can't do. These are federal agents that are enforcing federal crimes. So a municipal government, even a state government, can't come in and say the feds can't come here and enforce federal crimes. They can't do that, right? But they've created these ICE-free zones. So what does that do? It creates this false narrative propaganda line that when these ICE agents are in these ICE-free zones, they are the criminals. The ICE agents are the criminals, and those of you that attack them, you are standing your ground. It's like if somebody broke into my house right now, right? You're standing your ground. They are the criminals. And what they're doing is so incredibly dangerous. It really, truly is. And why would you have local officials, a mayor, people, high-ranking officers in the police department in Chicago, why would you have them going out there and doing something like this? What we know about everything Democrats do is about money. Some people will say power. The power is only a means to get the money. Right? Remember I was talking yesterday, there was this one guy, Tim Pool, he said all the Democrats that he invites on his show, 90% or so of them asked to get paid to be a guest on his show. Republicans never asked to be paid. Democrats don't do anything unless they're getting paid to do it. They do not have convictions. Their conviction is they're corrupt. So when you see what the mayor's doing, this police chief, you've got to ask yourself, are they on the take? I don't know, but we need to find out. You know, we've been talking since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that all this talk of fascist and Hitler and all this stuff is instigating violence. It is. But this is a whole nother level, right? This is a whole nother level when they're declaring and setting things up in a way that ICE are the criminal. Now, you may say, well, that's absurd. The ICE, how could anyone think they're criminals? You don't understand how these bad guys think. Or maybe you're just not thinking about it. These Trinidad de Agua and MS-13ers and the other illegals that are in Chicago and everywhere else, they believe they are entitled to be there. They already think they're in self-defense mode, okay? Now they're just getting the legitimacy of having the mayor and the police department on their side. This has taken a whole new level of instigating of violence, a level we've never seen before. So the president comes out yesterday and says this. Now, this is, of course, in response to the incident with the ICE officers that were attacked.
Over a weekend. What?
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed.
Yeah, that's right. And everything the left is doing is to get them killed. And the media, they're a part of this too, because the media are continually reporting 100% fake news, that the protesters are nonviolent. We're watching it. They're attacking people. You know, yesterday, Caroline Leavitt in the White House press briefing had said that Nick Sorter, she didn't say his name, but she made a reference, had to be. Nick Sorter is going to be at the White House soon, maybe this week. And he was the conservative reporter that was attacked by Black Lives Matter and Antifa in Portland over the weekend, and then the police arrested him. Right? You know, so Chicago and Portland are different. You know, Antifa, you know, one of the lead financiers of Antifa fled the country. He was a Rutgers professor, fled to Europe this week in the last couple of days. He's afraid he's going to be arrested because they're investigating who's funding and organizing Antifa, would be my guess. Now, and you know, we've got the cartel gangs are running Chicago. Portland is Antifa. A little bit of Black Lives Matter are hanging out, but it's mostly Antifa. And who's behind that is not as clear. But it's pretty clear that the police are working for Antifa out there, isn't it? And the media are hyping things up and getting people worked up, continually false reporting that Antifa and the rest are not violent. This was the White House press briefing. This is Caitlin Collins from CNN with Caroline Leavitt at the press briefing yesterday. And Caroline Leavitt really put her in her place.
I spoke to the police chief of Portland last week. He said that the president's claims just don't match up with what's happening on the ground.
I would encourage you as a reporter to go on the ground and to take a look at it for yourself.
Exactly.
Because there's been many members of the press not press in this room, but independent journalists, some of whom we'll be inviting to the White House very soon to share their stories, because they have been in the middle of these riots and they have witnessed the anarchy that is taking place night after night. It's on video. You should play it on your show. You have a great opportunity on prime time on CNN to show your audience. Yeah, but you're probably talking to partisan Democrat officials who are opposed to everything this president does. You should also ask the people who live in Portland. We've actually heard from many members of the community who have said that this is complete civil disobedience. It's a mess. It's been loud. It's been troubling for neighbors in the community who are just trying to live peacefully. And these people are not there to peacefully protest. They are there to cause mayhem and havoc.
Yeah, exactly. So you have Caitlin Collins saying it's nonviolent. Are they? And she knows better. You go on X, you go on TikTok, you're seeing it all day, every day in both of these cities, Chicago and Portland. Now, they're different types of people, but still violent, attacking federal buildings and federal officers. And here you have CNN telling us, oh, they're peaceful. The violence is from ICE. All right, we're going to take our last break of the day. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian. We'll be right back. Hi, it's Brian. We have about 30 seconds. All right, I'll put you on hold. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. How the metals look today, William Youngerman?
The metals are looking still very strong as we continue to make new highs for gold almost every day. The markets yesterday closed gold at $3,959.20. That was up $74.20 after trading in a range of $3,883 all the way up to $3,970 the ounce, a fraction away from our $4,000 gold. Silver closed yesterday up 53 cents at $48.45, while platinum was up $15 at $1,619, and palladium gained $56 at $1,300 the ounce. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,940 all the way up to $3,979, and right now we're at $3,973. That's up $13.80 at a new record high. Silver down 5 cents right now at $48.40 the ounce. Platinum up $1 at $1,620, and palladium gaining another $20 at $1,320 the ounce.
Wow, things are just on fire.
Absolutely, they really are.
Yeah, yeah. What are you recommending? What are some of the best buys in gold and silver right now?
Pretty much everything is on sale. The gold eagles have gone back up on premium wise, but the kangaroos, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, Philharmonics, all of the other products are very reasonably priced with low premiums, and of course the 1 ounce bars, 10-ounce bars and kilo bars are very affordable. Well, not affordable, but they're very low premiums.
Yeah, you know,
Silver's
there's
also got some very low premiums.
What does silver? Okay, you know, with the
silver, yeah.
you mentioned the kangaroos, the Australian kangaroos. The Australian kangaroos is a special coin. Can you tell people a little bit about, it's a beautiful coin. It's a special coin, really.
They really are a beautiful coin. They've got kangaroos on one side, the king on the other side, or the queen, and they're encapsulated. They're 4/9 pure gold that are just really nice, and of course they're protected by beautiful plastic capsules that the Mint puts them in. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It stops them from getting scratched up as gold, pure gold, of course.
Well,
it's very, very soft.
Well, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto. You can give him a call toll free, and remember, you can do your transactions no matter where you're located in the country or the world, for that matter. 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right,
Thanks.
All right, take care. Yeah, so these Antifa attacks in Portland, see, this story, in a normal world, this would be the lead story everywhere. And I saw this yesterday on the Gateway Pundit. I talked about it in my podcast, in the afternoon, but I haven't seen it reported too much. Antifa terrorist, author, organizer, and financier Mark Bray has fled to Europe. He's one of the leaders of this organization that Biden says doesn't exist, and he's fled. Mark Bray, an Antifa terrorist, financier, and organizer, has fled to Europe. This is in the Gateway Pundit. You can look it up right now. He's a teaching professor at Rutgers University. He taught at Dartmouth in the past. He was also an organizer of Occupy Wall Street. He was contacted. He said his move is based on death threats he has received. Come on. So now we know, for the first time, we're finding out the name of a leader of Antifa. And while this crackdown is going on, remember that last week, the Justice Department made the first Antifa arrest. Remember this? A bunch of geeks that they arrested in Portland. So right after the first Antifa arrest, they're one of their top leaders and financiers and organizers flees to Europe. He walked away from his classes at Rutgers University as well. He's going to be doing some Zoom classes from Europe, they say. But one of the top leaders of Antifa has fled to Europe. How is that not a story that's like breaking news? Financier and organizer of Antifa has fled to Europe. Not even out there. Not even out there. All right, let's go. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Doug in Pennsylvania.
Hey, Doug. What's up?
Well, let's talk about this shutdown. I mean, you're getting all sidetracked on different things here, but
well, lots happening.
With this shutdown, we need to come together. Now, of course, I helped voted Trump back in, but I don't consider myself a MAGA. But if we can't sit down and discuss health care for everyone, we got to. Everyone in this country should have health care.
See, I want you to slow down for a second. It's so interesting. Excuse me.
I'm not going fast, but you're going to interrupt me.
No. Well, I want to comment on what you said. Yeah, I'm going to comment on what you said, and I want you to stay here to respond and share your.
I'm not done talking.
Well, obviously, but I'll let you continue when I'm done. You said something. We have to come together and sit down and talk about health care. You're the second or third liberal that's called me with that same sentence today. Okay? This is the new talking point. We got to come together. We don't have enough votes, the Republicans. It's the Democrats that have shut down the government. And what you're doing is this is what you're trying to do. Trying to push us into not just giving illegals health care. You're talking about like universal health care. All right, what's your next thing? Talking point, fake MAGA.
like your smart attitude. Now let's calm
I don't
it
like
down.
liars. But anyway, what's your next point?
I'm going to tell you, if we can't sit down and come together, we're never going to work out the problems in this country.
You guys lost the election.
What is a president's job but to bring people together so we can come to the tables and work together to get bills passed.
Work together. Is working together is working together excuse me. Excuse me, I'm speaking. You mean working together like your Democrat friends that are firing on ICE agents in Chicago? You talking about that? Or your Antifa friends that are attacking federal agents in Portland? You mean coming together like that?
You have no idea who you're talking to because you won't listen to what I'm saying.
Oh, I know all about you.
I voted for the guy.
I can tell.
So
yes.
Don't assume that's your bad point. On the little bit that I just listened to you, you have your mental thoughts, and that's just the way it is. Instead of you listening. The way
Why'd you vote for Trump? Why'd you vote for Trump? Why'd you vote for Trump? Why'd you vote for Trump?
I'm finding out.
Why did you vote for Trump?
I was hoping for a change in this world, but not what we're seeing.
What are you talking about? He's shut down.
Would learn a lesson, and we could sit down. As a matter of fact, the Democrats offered us cameras in the House.
The Democrats were rejected by America. Why should we sit down with the Democrats? Excuse me. Why should we? The Democrats lost. Why should we sit down with the Democrats and give their illegals health care? Why should we do that?
I'm sure you will hang up on me because if we're afraid of cameras in that room.
All right, listen. I gotta run for a break. I gotta do a commercial, but I'm not.
I'm sure you do. I would run if I was you too.
No. I'm not running. I have to do a commercial.
I'm sure you will run too.
No, I have to I have a commercial. I have it in my hand. I gotta tell people about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. All right, but I do appreciate your call. I keep telling you guys I've lost so much weight. It's amazing. And, the cool thing about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I didn't have any big lifestyle changes that I lost all this weight with, right? I was eating foods I would normally eat. I didn't starve myself, did zero exercise, no prescription medications, no shots. And I lost all this weight. And I was talking in the last hour, my pants and underwear are falling off. I'm wearing old underwear that is too big, and it's falling off. It's not comfortable. I lost all this weight, and because I didn't have any big lifestyle changes, now that I'm in the maintain phase, okay, it's effortless. I haven't gained back an ounce because I didn't have big changes to lose all of this weight. My results are typical. With Coastal Weight Loss Secret, you can lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. I lost the first 25 pounds in 3 weeks. Give them a call and schedule your free consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. Okay, now I want to talk about that caller for a minute. You notice, this is seminar caller that we're dealing with here, right? You got a seminar caller. And what is he trying to do here? What is the purpose of what he's trying to do? We've got to come together and sit down and have a meeting of the mind. Why? We won. We control the White House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, by the way. Since when do Democrats, when they control the Congress and the White House, say, well, we got to sit down with Republicans? We got to cave to some things that the Republicans want because we want to get along. I never hear them talk that way when they're in control. And not only did we win the national election, we're likely to gain in the midterms because the way the Democrats are operating. And did you hear what that guy said? See that? Now, do you notice that all these anti-Trump people, they all tell me they voted for Trump? All of them tell me they voted for Trump. Well, if you voted for Trump, things are going according to plan. Everything that President Trump is doing, this is why we voted for him. We didn't vote for him to go and make deals with these Democrats. Right? But this is, they got a couple talking points. I voted for Trump. That's the first tell of the seminar caller. We got to sit down and come together. And then he said at the end, so that everybody has health care. They're portraying this that people are losing health care. The only people that are losing health care are the people that are not legally entitled to have it. The illegals. And don't buy their nonsense that, they're not legally eligible for Medicaid. They get it in the emergency rooms and the walk-in clinics through fraud. Everybody knows this. I can't repeat it every time somebody brings it up. But I had 2, maybe 3 liberals that called with the same thing. They voted for today. They voted for Trump, and we got to sit down and come together. There's no sitting down. You know, Hakeem Jeffries said since that meeting in the Oval Office, he hasn't heard from the White House. Yeah, and you're not going to. Remember what Schumer said. Elections have consequences, right? Remember? Pelosi and Schumer weren't budging with Trump when they won the Congress. Now we control the Congress and the White House. Why should we cave to them? On a primary plank of Trump's campaign promises, and that is stop the support of the illegals, and that's what they're trying to do. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. There's so much news going on today. I mean, I only got to about maybe 15% of the stories I wanted to cover. Make sure you follow me on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube, guys, and you can catch my afternoon show, my podcast in the afternoon, and also my weekend stuff. All right, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I'm Brian Craig. Steve will be back with us tomorrow. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And, of course, God bless the late, great Charlie Kirk. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. See you then. All right. We are clear. You know, you notice all of these seminar callers, every single one of them say they voted for Trump. But now, you know, this is an old thing. I remember when the liberal radio network, Air America, was on. Every other caller was a guy Bush was president then. I voted for Bush, but for the first time, I'm going to vote Democrat in my life because of this. This is back to the Rush Limbaugh old playbook of the Democrats, right? The Democrats always go back to this thing. They all claim to be Republicans who voted for whoever the Republican in power is, but something's happened and they've just had enough. I voted for him. I voted Republican my whole life. I voted for Trump, but now he's just gone too far. What are you talking about? Everything he is doing is why we elected him, right? No doubt about it. All right, guys, I got to run. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Those of you that are already subscribed, please like the video. And if you guys could join the Brian Craig Show marketing team, which is taking the link to this program and sharing it on your social media and getting your friends and your family to find this channel and subscribe to, if you don't mind. I have no marketing budget. Word of mouth is how we get the word out about this program, and you all can do that. Just take the link to the program and share on all your socials, all right? I'd appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next show. Take care. Thanks for watching.